Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the inaugural Alabama 500, brought to you by RC2 Race Promotions. Our sponsors for the night are 5-Star Realty Group, Kelly's Custom Engraving. For Ghostfire Media, I'm Josh Laston, and with me to get all this high-speed action covered is Mr. Larry Patrick. Larry, how are you tonight?
Man, I am doing fantastic. Can't wait for the race here tonight. Obviously, we're doing the duels tonight, man. So, setting the field, stuff like that. So we should see some intense racing, shorter races, getting ready for tomorrow night.
It's going to be an absolute blast. We've got 35 laps in each of the duels tonight. Only the top 19 from these duels will be making it to the big show tomorrow. We are going to have a few ways for people to get themselves into this outside of that. But the big thing that we need to keep an eye on is each of these duel winners are going to get themselves $25. And then the big winner come tomorrow is going to get themselves $300. And there will be places for the top 15, all of them getting up as little as $20. But we have contingencies for the fastest qualifier, who was actually Andrew Coody, who, no matter what, if he does not finish the race tonight, he will get himself in for being that fastest qualifier. If it's not him, the top qualifier that does not make it in will get themselves into the race tomorrow. We also have the dual winners getting $25. The hard charger tomorrow gets themselves $15. Most laps led are going to get $10. The halfway point, that lap 94 tomorrow, gets $10. But most interesting contingency, and the one that I'd be most likely to get myself, is the person with the most incident points that finishes the race gets themselves $5. And it's going to be an absolute blast, as these guys right now, they are wrapping up the drivers' meeting, getting themselves back out on track. We still have 11 minutes. But what we can do is really go through, show off all of the brilliant paint schemes. A lot of guys are going to be running custom ones for tonight. And that alone is going to make it just very entertaining. So right now, out on track, the first man to come out after the drivers' meeting is Jason Manes in the number 1. We also have Colton Zimmer, and my driver info is not updating on me. That's always fun. Apparently the network is taking its dear old time updating. But in the 09, we have Colton Zimmer. We also have Garrett Manes in the 31. One thing to note for tonight, a lot of these guys are going to be running custom numbers. So what ultimately is going to end up happening is some of them, the numbers may not match what they are showing on the ticker, the tower. So just keep that one in mind.
Yeah, it's kind of one of the things, Josh, that it when you run custom numbers the way they're doing it, most of the time it's for race control or even the announcers to understand who's doing what, right? Also for the audience, to be able to see and be able to know what driver's doing what. The good news is that be with our system, we should be able to differentiate them. And so when you see somebody on the screen, we should be letting you guys know.
Yeah, without a doubt. It's going to make things nice and easy. And, of course, my software is being a little crazy right now. It's not listening to what I'm telling it to do.
That's never a good thing.
Well, it's,
But hey, so be it with a live broadcast, right? I mean, that's
I know.
generally what you get with it is that you're going to have the software just sometimes does not do what you want it to do. And these guys getting ready, like we said earlier, just I think they're what right now they are in drivers meetings. So, you got to look out at at this track, right? The duels. They had how many? I think 50 some, 40 some.
We
No, I'm
had
sorry.
we had a
They're
total of 59 drivers.
59. That's right. Yeah. And they turn around and ran qualifying and had to nick some guys just to get to where we're at now.
And that's going to be the entertaining storyline is again, we're only going to have 40 guys make it through the night tonight. And that alone should make things interesting on its own.
Yeah, right now I'm actually looking at the qualifying results. Andrew is I believe Coody there. He ran a 53.622. Got your number one qualifying spot. Now, obviously, that was again setting to hear the duels, which will ultimately set the field for tomorrow. Matthew Baker with a 53.632. And going down the list there, all the way down to Jeffrey Mathis with a 53.723. That is 53rd driver that made it into tonight. And then unfortunately, just some notable mentions there. Matt Lee, Matt Dula, Cody Nagales. I'm not 100% sure how you use that one. Donovan Carty, Derek Adams, and Austin Baker just unfortunately couldn't get there. One thing being, this is a wide open track. So just that slightest little wheel cut there can cost you some time. And it may have bit them. Just, nothing that they did. And just a slight little bobble. It's one thing about running these courses. It's not like running Las Vegas where that's more of a driver's course, right?
Yeah, and that's the great thing about Talladega and the reason why personally I prefer being in the booth on nights like tonight because there's no denying that these super speedways, they're wild cards.
Yeah, for sure.
It's not guaranteed that you're going to be as fast as you would like to be, and it all comes down to strategy. Yeah, your
Yeah.
qualifying position is really going to make a huge difference in a lot of situations, keeping you out of the big one if you're towards the front and it happens even 3 rows back. But you can go from that back row to the front if you get a good group, get a good push. We can see 3 wide action all the way around Talladega because this track is wide and it's fast.
Yeah, man. And you talk strategy, right? So let's talk strategy for a quick second. Obviously, the strategy is going to be there. There's a possibility it could be different between today and to tomorrow, right? Um, 500 miles tomorrow as opposed to 35 laps today in your duel. So for you as a driver, if you were one of these guys, well, how would you run today? I mean, obviously, there's two conventional thoughts of wisdom, right? You hang out in the back, try to avoid massive issues, take the chances of losing that draft, and you've only got 35 laps to make up that time. Or do you turn around? Do you run up front and just hope that you can stay up there the whole time?
I never plan on being at the front of any Talladega race because it's so easy to get past when you are that lead car because you are having to rely on the people behind you for your speed and it requires coordination. It's really helpful if you have teammates, but at the same time, a coordinated group coming from the back has the ability to pass the entire field.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And again, it's one of the things. The thought of how you're going to run this course can be a little different between tonight, tomorrow. It'll be interesting to see what some of these guys do. I know for me, I just ran Daytona on Monday, and for me, it was just keeping up with the lead pack. Right, I didn't want to be up front, but at the exact same time, I didn't want to fall behind or lose that draft without that lead pack. Luckily, it worked out for me. I got second that night, but you kind of the same thing with tonight. As we talked about earlier, we're probably going to see a little bit more aggressive racing. This is to set the field for tomorrow night. So it'll be interesting to see what some of these guys' strategies are. Whether we're gonna see a lot of 2 going into 3 wide action, or are some of these guys just gonna step back and say, hey, you know what? I'll take what I can get to tonight. Tomorrow's the bigger night.
And that would be my personal strategy. From a conversation with race control, we are going to need at least 1 pit stop for these duels. 35 laps in these cars, it's not attainable to be able to get all the way to the end on a single tank. So if we see a caution in the first 2-3 laps, yeah, you can come in and top off, but you're still going to have to come back in one time, because I'm hearing it's only going to be a little bit under 30 laps for a tank.
Yeah, and you talk about pit stops, right? So the great equalizer in anything is pit stops. And what we mean by that is that, Josh, I know you've had your issues. I've raced with you enough, or called races with you enough, that you've had issues with pit stops. And I honestly, the funny thing is, not this past race, but a couple races before that, I had my own issues with them. And it's really cost me a lot of time, and I've seen it cost you a lot of time. So the good thing is we've seen some guys practice and getting into the pits rather quick here tonight. So if we do have green flags pit stops, I would definitely say look for that to be one of those defining moments for these guys, getting in, getting out, not getting a penalty, and making that clean pit stop. It would be interesting to see who can do it, and if they can keep up like that.
And the other major thing is, if we do have those green flag pit stops, making sure you're coordinating with somebody, because you do not want to come back out alone. One of the good things about this next gen car is if you have only 3 people to work with, and you have 3 great people in a group that knows how to push, knows how to get in the line, you can actually have a breakaway with that few cars, and even have as many as 10 behind you in a group. But if they aren't as neatly organized, they aren't going to catch you. And that is one of the unfortunate things that we're going to see people deal with. As right now on screen, we're seeing a group of 3. They are tidy, they are close, and that's exactly what these people are going to need to do if they end up in a smaller group, as we're seeing what I would assume 2 teammates working together to figure out how to do that tandem run, as we're seeing a little bit of shakiness. But that's going to be the defining thing, is how much do you trust people if you manage to get a breakaway, and how good of a push can you get? These next-gen cars are, in my personal opinion, the best car in the sim for that.
Yeah, absolutely, man. You as you stated, seeing these 2 guys right here on the track, that he was all over. 31 was all over the back of the one there, and he was giving him enough push to give him some extra speed. But what he wasn't doing is he wasn't making him too crazy. We did see him here and there get a little bit squirrely, but for the most part, Garrett was able to really give a nice push there to Jason in the one, and not cause too many issues. So definitely be for a look at that, or looking at that here tonight. And yeah, I mean, there's so many factors here tonight, right? I mean, you talk about pit stops, you talk about getting in, getting out cleanly, getting in, getting out with a teammate. And if your teammate, you come in with them and your teammate makes a mistake, well, now it affects you, because now you lose the draft. You don't have anybody to draft with. A slight bump just gone wrong that causes a little bit of issues with aero on these cars. We've seen these guys who are able to use these cars, run on the outside and use that side draft and keep up darn near by themselves with a whole pack of cars on the inside.
And honestly, that's another great point with these cars, and why I'm so glad we've made the jump to the next gen over the Gen 6. The side draft is massive. So a 2-3 car pack on the outside lane is able to make up spots. These guys can honestly get up on the rear quarter panel of another car and suck 5 miles an hour off of the car in front of them. I have pulled people back off of a beautiful draft and push just by getting onto their quarter panel. So the racing in these cars, especially in the sim, it can be absolutely amazing as we see these guys making their way into pit lane. And right as we end the warm-up, which will give us the opportunity to give a quick run through the grid as there we go. Right now we have Andrew Coody starting in the first position. We have Brandon Holder in second, Garrett Manes in third, Daniel Holloway in fourth, David Sheets in fifth, Dustin Longston in sixth, Dustin Sultier in seventh, Tristan Bailey eighth, Vincent Guerrero in ninth, Jeff Glockner in 10th, Jason Maines 11th, and 12th is Tyler Murray.
Yeah, man, we're getting ready, getting set for this first duel. We got Terry Radford out there. Said, can't wait for duel number 2, man. We look forward to that one. Well, now you switched it for me so we can continue down the line here. Hey, man, so we got Jeremy Stanley in 13th, Austin Reedy at 14th, 15th, Denver Turgeson. I hope I pronounced that right. Denver, if I did not pronounce that right, please correct me. And we got Paul Witt in 16th and 17th, Kenneth Bishop, 18th, Colton Zimmer, and 19th, Kyle Benson, and 20th, Mr. Brenton, which I would have to look here. Some of these aren't showing up all the way, which is kind of crazy. I just want to point out real quick, Andrew.
I'm laughing.
Coody just commented, said it's Coody, like cooties, not Cody. You know, hey man, I appreciate you letting me know so that we know what we're doing there. And anyways, continuing down, I believe that's PJ Luttrell right there, junior in 21st and 22nd, Ryan Johnson, 23rd, Julian Conde, and 24th, Jeff Mathis.
All right, we are getting ourselves up through the pace lap. Luckily, Talladega is only one, and thankfully, because it's a big lap. I'm somewhat surprised that we've got ourselves a pace truck tonight.
I love that. I think that looks fantastic.
You know what? Knowing the guys that put this together, it's actually not surprising because that's what they run in the North-South Racing League too. And yeah, it's, in my personal opinion, it's very entertaining to watch these cars go around behind that truck. And it's a Silverado, but not really a Silverado. It's unbranded.
Hey, close enough, right?
But it's a Silverado.
Close enough.
But we are going to go ahead and get ourselves up out of the turns, get ourselves onto the racing surface, and we're about to go green for duel number 1 for the Alabama 500. This is going to set the odd numbers for tomorrow's race. And again, the winner of this is going to get themselves $25 and the ideal position to start tomorrow's race. So let's go ahead, get ourselves zoomed out ever so slightly so we get to see all the action from above. And we are green and we are racing, and it looks like we actually have a little bit of a breakaway on that low line. That fourth row didn't really get the best start, but it looks like it's closing up quite quickly. And we are starting to see everybody get themselves formed up. We're seeing some line jumping. That is the 88 of Tristan Bailey jumping down to that low line. It may not be the best move at this point, but you know what? Oh, it looks like we're doing 50 laps.
I was just looking at that, Josh. I was going to say someone's going to let you continue what you're doing there. Yeah. So right now it's showing lap 1 of 50. So with a little bit more excitement. Again, it's not going to really change. I mean, this is more of a sprint anyways. So it's going to be a lot of fun with these guys here tonight. Kind of like you said right now, that low line really starting to get together there. That high line looking solid, though. I mean, guys are looking to get down, but Andrew Coody, they're leading our first lap. Coody, sorry. I'm going to do that a lot.
I'm sure. But we are seeing a reasonable amount of single file. That outside line right now is not forming up all that well. And that's kind of unfortunate as we're starting to see a car jump out. That is the one of Jason Manes trying to lead that pack and get it something moving on the outside. But that low line, they are formed up about as perfectly as they can, trying to keep that lead and keep the outside line from really getting too much speed.
Yeah, and you're seeing kind of what I thought you might see. You're not seeing too much jostling right now. Guys were just getting down, wanting to get in that low line. Staying in one little area, getting that low line and just running some laps here, clicking some laps off. Not doing anything too crazy. I mean, even with 35 laps, you still got to get to the 35th lap, right? So, with 50 laps, you're still going to try to get to the 50 laps. As you stated earlier, we expect pits, at least one pit stop. So with that being said, I would say that you don't see these guys getting too racy, too dicey until we hit that pit stop.
Well, we're starting to see somebody jump out to that third
And
line.
as soon as I said that,
I don't know if that was just getting a little arrow loose, but we have everyone back in line, and we're seeing a lot of shuffling throughout the field right now. And that outside line led by Jason Manes, they're starting to pick up a little bit of steam.
yeah, it was Jeff Glockner there in the number 24. And actually, when I'm taking a look at it here, it looks like the number 16 just got up underneath him, kind of shuffled his way down there and then pushed him up to that high line and was really able to shove him out of the line. I mean, the 24 there, Jeff Glockner, he kind of was running a little bit higher. So the 16 didn't really make it Tyler Murray didn't really make that an aggressive pass. He just had a little opening there, got the 24 out of the line and was able to make that pass. And it really obviously shuffled Jeff Glockner out of the groove there.
And right now we're starting to see we don't have anyone. It looked like for a little bit that Julian Condi was going to end up dropped off the pack, but they're keeping touch and keeping speed. Honestly, at this point, I'm very much okay being at the back. We still have 45 laps to be able to get themselves back up into a position and safe for tomorrow's race. But as we hop back up to the front, Andrew Coody is just holding that front position. And I'll be honest, at this point, I'm fine with it, but he's going to have to start worrying because he's using a whole lot more fuel than everybody else.
That's that's factual, man. I mean, you see the high line now starting to make a little bit of a move here. Not that many cars there, nowhere near what's on that low line, but the number 1 of Jason Manes, he's leading that group right now as Brandon Holder there in the 31, giving him some nice push, and he's making a run here. He's up to fourth.
And we're going to actually jump on board with Jason Manes with the Kelly's Custom Engraving roll bar camera. And we can see he's within touching distance. He has that opportunity to where, you know what, he's getting a little bit of the side draft, so he's going to be a little bit better on fuel than Coody. And honestly, he's in a position, he's fine. Doesn't need to really make runs, doesn't need to make moves. Just get himself all the way up towards the front and keep yourself safe, because it's Talladega. One bad move and a lot of people's nights can be ruined.
Yeah, he's sitting in an absolutely wonderful spot right now. As you see, these guys ain't getting too close off that side draft. We're not seeing aggressive pushing, nothing of the sort. And, these guys, they got the opportunity. So you've got the 31 there, which it's going to show as 31 Mike, but the 31 of Garrett Manes in second. He can actually jump up at any time right now, or even the looks like the 9 Charlie on the car. Oh, excuse me, 06. Apparently, I cannot read today.
Are you looking at things backwards, upside down? What's going on?
It's the way I'm seeing the car from the blimp or chopper view. It looks like a C on top of the 06 car there. But anyhow, yeah, it's David Sheets right there. Those guys could jump up to that high line if they wanted to, but that right there goes to show you they're not trying to make a move early to get to that lead. As you said earlier, Andrew Coody, he's wasting a lot of gas being there out front. So, and as soon as I said it, there you go. Look, there goes the 31, and he's jumped up to that high line.
We saw during the warm-up, we saw those two working well together, and we're seeing the same kind of pushing right now. Are they going to drop themselves down to that low line? It's actually looking like they are going to go ahead and do everything in their power to just pull that top line and then, of course, move down.
That top line had an incredible run there on that low line. You've seen 4 cars easily clear your leader at that point in time, and just with no issues. That was really impressive by that high line. But there you go, Andrew Coody. He's now moved to that high line, and it looks like he wants back up into that top spot.
And that is exactly the kind of thing is, I'm going to apologize. Apparently, Skype decided to stay open on my system, and everybody's hearing beeps. But no, Coody drops himself down back to that low line, moves back up to the top line, and is looking to get a push from Tyler Murray to get himself back up there. And they aren't really linking up in the way that you would want to see to be able to get that, but he's working to try to get a bit of that side draft. He's going to have to be a little craftier than that as we see that low line next to him kind of move down. They're starting to close back up on the leader, but that's a questionable position to be in.
Yeah, you're not seeing much, like I said earlier, you're not seeing a bunch of massive pushes. So, the 06 kind of gives the 31 there a nice little, space. He's not all over him. And then, you go back even further there, the 21 of Daniel Holloway, he, again, not all over the back of him. As we see, I believe that is the 15 there of Dustin Sluter. He dropped down the yellow line. I'm guessing to get a little bit of fresh air on that front of that car.
And you know what? That's going to be the big thing as we see 2 cars. That is the 16 of Tyler Murray and Austin Reedy. They decide to abandon that top line and get themselves down there. We're starting to see some slicing and dicing. I'm going to say it. I'm kind of questioning this raciness with 39 laps to go.
I stated earlier, I didn't think that we would see too much raciness, especially this early. As you see 3 wide right now, you've got the 38. That's the 15 in the middle by himself, and he's dropping like a rock. He's going to have to get up or get down, but he needs to grab some draft there as he starts to move up a little bit behind the 4.
We see a few people, and it was Jeremy Stanley in the 44 dropping down, and we were 3 wide for a few seconds. And everybody gets themselves back in order after a few cars get a little loose coming out of 2. So that kind of mixed up the field just a little bit. But we see our fastest qualifier in Andrew Coody. He's doing everything he can to slice his way back up to the lead of this race, because laps led, at this point, the duels, it's bragging rights. But come tomorrow, there's money on the line for that one.
Yeah, as you stated, as great it is as a starting position, it's Talladega, man. This racing's so close. You can go from the back of the pack to the front of the pack within 2-3 laps. So, yeah, we're going to see a lot of, guys want bragging rights going in tomorrow. You also want that momentum. So you're seeing some guys may take some chances to try to get that, momentum right into tomorrow.
As I want to go on board with the 9 and just take a quick look here, because there is no space between those bumpers right now, and that is getting them up towards the front a lot closer than that outside line has been for a little while. And they are trying to get formed up and get themselves as close to the front, and maybe we're going to be too wide up at the front as that front pack on the outside line, they're getting even and getting forward.
Yeah, absolutely. The 9, Andrew Coody, he is giving a massive push there on Austin Reedy, and they're going to be able to get to the front now. Right now, the 96 just dropped down. So here goes the 9, Andrew Coody. He wants that lead back. He's going to clear him. He's got room right now to be able to go down, but he's going to have to go down now with the 31 getting all over the back of the 96. They're going to get a good push here coming down that front stretch, heading down into turn 1.
Well, Coody gets a lap led out of that situation, but we're starting to see That low line, the front three, they're linking up and they're making sure that there isn't another lap. Oh, we see chaos in the back, and we have our first caution of the night.
Big wreck, and there you go. You start seeing a little slicing and dicing. You kind of wonder at what point does the seal break there, and it finally happened. Big wreck coming out of turn number 2.
Let's see what happened. The first name that pops up on my list is the 24 of Jeff Glockner. Let's see what happens here. Oh, just a little contact on the low line sends everyone into chaos and trying to get themselves around. The 429 of Paul Witt gets collected in his amazing Spider Friends car. Just almost escapes it, just gets the slightest tag on the rear end, and he actually may be able to keep moving without too much of a problem. Let's see, as Dustin Longston is just spinning around and almost collects it, and yeah, he looks like he may have escaped without damage. He's going to stay on the lead lap. And you know what? That looked worse than it probably was for a lot of these guys.
Yeah, I'm looking at it here in slow-mo. We got 1, 2, 3, 4 cars, 5, 6. I know at least that got hit pretty good. At least 4 cars though that are going sliding. You see the 18 there. He's going to get out of the way of the 24. But yeah, no, it looked like the 24 there. Jeff Glockner, he just kind of come up a little bit. We had the other car coming down, and they made a little contact. Now, I'm not going to lie, looking at it on my screen and in slow-mo, it looked like it might have been a little bit of net code. But when you look at the way the car was coming up, I think they would have made contact anyways. But either which way, definitely a big wreck there as you see guys starting to come down pit lane now.
Yeah, everyone, and from what I'm seeing, we're looking at the 4 of Tyler Jurgensen. He's looking like he is the worst for the wear in that situation. But I'm going to go ahead, get myself up here to the front and just watch the race off pit road. It looks like everybody's avoiding tires, which is generally the right call at Talladega. Doesn't really kill your tires. It's fuel only. You get it topped off and you get yourself out. But there are a few guys that look like they're taking tires, and it looks like the guys that may have gone for a little bit of a spin in that process.
Yeah, I mean, if you took a spin there, you might as well go ahead and take the tires. This is one of those tracks that I agree with you. You're not going to see a lot of wear and tear on the tires. Such a big track. But these cars, and I know at super speedways, can get a little slick coming out of these corners, especially when you start getting a good push. So for some guys that are maybe mid to backpack, it doesn't hurt to go ahead and grab the tires. It'll help keep your car a little tighter, and you might be able to drive just a little bit more aggressively.
And you said exactly what I would be thinking. So we'll look. Austin Reedy. He was mid-pack already. Take all 4, or at least take right sides. Get yourself back out there. Your rubber's going to be a little bit better off, and hopefully it pays dividends. But you don't really lose many positions.
No, you won't.
He's in 10th. He's up 4 spots for the night. But the one thing to look at, our new leader, the 10 of Kyle Benson, he is currently the hard charger of the night. He's leading and up 18 positions so far.
And that's a great move there. I'd really like to know. As a matter of fact, I'm going to take a look here to see if he took tires or not. But
he did
not.
I
mean, he did
was
not.
Only stationary for 7 seconds. So that's just fuel in these cars. And we're starting to see a few guys. We actually have Colton Zimmer, who just now decided to come down pit road. Honestly, not a terrible decision to wait a lap before coming in, because right now he's dropping spots, but he wasn't towards the front to begin with. So come in, wait an extra lap, because that one lap could be the difference between making it to the end and not.
Oh, you're absolutely correct about that, and that's again another good thought there. That if you're going to play it safe, close on fuel, play it safe. So, what I mean by playing it safe, don't be looking to lead every lap. Don't get out there and lead every lap. You're going to waste fuel more than everybody else. You're at full throttle while other people are at half, three quarters of throttle running in that draft. Not to mention stay out for an extra lap, come in when the pit road's not crowded, go ahead and top off on your fuel. You got one extra lap. Yeah, the lap's slow, but you still have one extra lap. So if we go into overtime, we go into extra laps, you have that little bit of cushion was where everybody won't.
And also, he's going to be towards the back of the field, which means he's going to be getting the best draft, which is going to make it to where in these cars, you're running 60% throttle when you're in the pack to be able to maintain speed because the draft is that strong. So save, save, save. And if we're going to be pushing it on laps, that could be the difference between sputtering across the line or having to pit before we get the checkered.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, man. And again, I guess that's where me, if I was one of some of these guys, I'd be thinking four tires, fuel, go ahead, come in after everybody else. You're still going to be on the lead lap, and then just kind of run there in the back of the pack. And then again, you're on the fresher tires. So once these laps start winding down, maybe lay off a little bit, get that massive run that you can get because, as you stated, that draft is so strong. You could be two and a half cars out. You're still going to be within the draft. So get that run to where you're 10 miles an hour faster and jump and make your own line and see how far up you can get using that side draft.
As the pace truck is pulling off and we're approaching the Geico restart zone, which is a lot earlier than I remembered, to where it's in the tri-oval. So these guys can go at any point during that restart zone, and you wait until the green flag flies. As it is out, as we are starting to see our leaders getting moving, and Coody is getting himself a good jump, but doesn't quite have the person on his bumper to where Kyle Benson and Garrett Manes, they are linked up, and then Jason Manes right there behind them. Those guys are going to be able to link up and get themselves pushed up as we see the 16 drop down into that low line. These guys are getting a little squirrely, doing everything they can to push, and they can't really see very much in front of them. So coming out of the corners, especially on a restart, can be sketchy. And that's why we see some of these guys getting a little wild coming out of the corners.
Yeah, and you got to know your surroundings, who you're pushing, who can handle that push.
As I'm going to interrupt you, 31
pushing?
is making a fantastic move along that outside line, and they're trying to link up with Coody. And, oh, there's a little bit going on up at the front there, but that is actually the right move from Coody. Get himself down to that low line, but unfortunately the 10 is not there to be able to support him. So we're going to see that outside line's 5 cars deep, and they are close. So they are going to be able to get themselves very clear, and we see a lot of people jump into that outside line because it is scooting.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that is remnants of what we just seen Coody do. I mean, he come down, let's just face it, he wasn't really clear of the 10. He forced his way down there. He was making a third line, but he was getting down before those other two guys. He had the run. He wanted that run to try to get ahead of the leaders, and I think the 10 had a check up there, and it really slowed down that low line.
And we're starting to see the 38 of Ryan Johnson leading that front pack of the low line. I've seen this man race on super speedways before. I know he knows what he's doing. He just needs that support, as we're actually starting to see Matt Dula come up right behind him, followed by Jeff Mathis. These guys are North-South Racing League veterans. Maybe not friends on track during that league, but I will say that they are starting to get themselves formed up quite nicely, and that's what they're going to need to do and get themselves pushed up there, because that's that outside line right now. They've got the momentum, they've got the coordination, and they're starting to run away with this.
Oh, you got that high line is super strong right now. There are 5 cars cleared on that low line. Also want to talk about Coody just a little bit more. You notice he made that move, and I thought he was going to drop being there in that low line, He's running in fourth right now. So he made the right move after that move and was able to still get back up, get back in line, and move himself back up into fourth.
And we're starting to see the low line come in a little bit more, but that outside line is doing fantastic as we're seeing 3 wide down the backstretch. And that's not what you're wanting to see. We've still got a lot of racing to go. It's time to go ahead and get yourself organized, just survive, as we really only have one person out of this race, despite the fact that that wreck seemed like it was going to cause a lot of people's nights to be over. But we lost one person, and we're starting to see that outside line's breaking down as people move to the low line. That is Vincent Guerrero, who I learned apparently Guerrero means warrior, and he's looking like it right now as he is fighting his heart out trying to get to the front of this pack, and he's actually done it with the help of Coody.
Yeah, and it's funny, we had a mention there in the comments there. Justin Anderson said, Coody looks like maybe the best pusher in the race, smooth and able to keep the car cool enough to keep doing it. So, and we're seeing that strong push, able to get that low line going. He's got the 38 now, Ryan Johnson just behind him. Matt Dula there in the 17. I mean, he's got a little bit of a gap, but I mean, those top 3 right now, they're able to stay on each other enough that they're able to fight off that that high line and starting to get some good runs here.
As we're starting to see a few people losing the pack, the 64 of William Britton is running solo. We have Daniel Holloway and Jeff Glockner off pace trying to get themselves caught up to this backpack, which Paul Witt is the first person that they're going to try to get themselves to, but the front pack, they're forming up nicely, and now we're seeing that low line be the ones to beat, as the mains, both of them, they were looking strong, but they've lost the support that they need to get that outside line.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think that the 24 there, Jeff Glockner, maybe, having some issues now with the damage that he sustained during that wreck. I mean, he probably took more damage than anybody else. So that may be why we're seeing him off the pace. And those guys are so far back now, they've lost the draft of these cars. So unfortunate for them. But as you stated, these guys up front, they're starting to really organize. And Coody right now is just giving some massive pushes to Vincent Guerrero going down here. These two are going to be strong. I have to agree with Justin. Coody is looking like a monster when it comes to pushing.
And honestly, I would rather be known for being a good pusher than being able to hold my line and be pushed. Because I'm never at the front enough to be able to be pushed.
Well, let's be real about this, right? So if you are the strongest pusher, I think that gives you the biggest advantage over everybody else. Why? Again, like we stated earlier, fuel. If you're pushing, you're only running, as you said, about 60% throttle going around this track. So you're saving the fuel. Not to mention, when you get down into that 2 laps to go, 3 laps to go, you're going to take every bit of strength that car in front of you has when you dip out from them and get that run. As long as you can get a little side draft off of them, you got the advantage. You don't ever want to lead one of these races going in to the last 5 laps.
And I can honestly say it's never a problem I've ever had in my racing career. But we're starting to see that outside line get themselves formed up and a whole lot racier as we're starting to see a battle for the lead as we exit 2. Garrett Manes is definitely being the one to have himself up there as we see the 31 and the 1 drop down. That's going to kill that low line. That's going to give the 96 of Austin Reedy an opportunity to get themselves up there, and he's going to need the support from behind that doesn't quite seem to be there at this point as the 31 jumps up to stop a run. Oh, that is a brilliant move as we're seeing a little bit of shaking.
Oh, they're going to try to leave him hanging though.
And he's able to get himself back in front of that low line, had a little bit of extra speed. But now comes the question, does Austin Reedy drop down and leave that outside line to suffer? Or is he just going to try to lead the entire pack around the front? But is the one doing an amazing job making sure that that top line isn't really able to get too much momentum. They have the longer line up top, which means more to travel to where that extra speed is not going to make a difference.
I absolutely love seeing the Manes here up front, giving each other a push. I mean, they're working well together tandemly. But you're right. That was a brilliant move by the 31 to jump up by Garrett to try to block that run from that high line. The only problem with that is Austin Reedy was really quick about jumping out. He was going to leave him hanging, but, it's helpful to have, another Manes there at the bottom line to let you back down.
Yeah, whenever you have a teammate, you know you're going to be able to do that safely. You're coordinating that move, so if nothing, Jason was laying off a little bit to make sure that he still had room to get back down, and then right back to being on the bumper.
What I'm really curious about, if those guys are racing in the same house.
I would feel bad for their internet connection.
I'm just saying, think about it. If those guys are racing in the same house, they could be talking to each other right now, coordinating. But if one of them does something the other one doesn't like, do you think they get into a fight?
I would assume maybe the occasional thrown water bottle. As we're starting to see that outside line, they're getting a little bit squirrely. And we see the two Manes jump up to that high line, realize that they're slowing down. Let's go ahead, check them up a little bit, maybe actually take advantage, because it looked like Vincent Guerrero may not have been in the exact right spot to be able to really take advantage of the draft that he had from those front two. And they're just bouncing around between lines, trying to keep as many people behind as they can.
I'll tell you what right now, Josh, this is really looking like a main event.
Oh, that's a dad joke.
I couldn't resist that one. I was sitting there. I was like, I got to get this one. I got to say this one. But you're right, man. These guys are running, back and forth between the lines, looking extremely strong. You see a lot of guys really liking that high line right now. It's starting to build stronger than that low line. It's showing there on the track of that low line. Not as many cars. You're seeing it not run as strong. And we got some lap traffic coming up here. So lap car, where does that car go? Do they go below the yellow line, let these guys all go by? Do they go to the very high line? Do they stay in the low line? I'm really interested in what the move is going to be.
Let's go ahead, jump to the gearbox. They're not cool. Oh, nope, went to the wrong one. That would explain. They're just now starting to get in frame. This is from the gearbox of William Britton. And this closing speed right now, he's running 179 miles an hour, whereas our leader is at 196. These guys are going to be up on him probably before we even get out of turn 4. And now it just becomes the question, what are we going to do? He's going to drop himself down below that yellow line to give them as much. Ooh, yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
Down below the yellow line, let the pack get around him. If we have another caution, does a fantastic job keeping it tidy on that flat. He's going to be able to join the pack, be the first car a lap down. As long as he's able to hang on to that draft, that's going to be the right thing to do.
I want to
stay real quick.
That right there by William Britton, Britton was just beautiful. Gave these drivers all the room they needed, got below that yellow line, gave them everything that he possibly could. At one point, I'm pretty sure he was in the grass and held his own, and then was still able to get up in turn 1, handle the banking at the speed with 30 tires, and get back up there, not causing any incidents. So kudos to that driver.
Yeah, that's a brilliant move. That's a heads up. That's an experienced. Unfortunately, I have a lot of experience being lapped at these tracks, but at the same time, again, we're starting to see these two mains cars. They are doing an amazing job of dictating the pace of this race.
Yeah, I love seeing how these guys are working together. It looks like they're as you just said that they're dictating it. But what I want to know right now is fuel wise. We got 18 laps to go. Where are we at on fuel with these drivers? They've got their one pit stop, and that's what race control was saying that they're going to have at least one pit stop. So I'm intrigued. Was that their pit stop? They're good on fuel. Or is Garrett right now wasting a lot of fuel? I mean, I want to know, is he going to be all right running out front like that the entire time? And Terry Radford said, oh, I'm going to win. So he's calling a shot right now for duel number 2.
You know what? I love the confidence. I wish I could have it. But we're starting to reach the point that I'm somewhat surprised that we're still this calm.
Talking about your confidence, man, and when you got the last name of Laston, I get it. Last is in your name. Full of jokes tonight.
Larry, I think you finished in front of me once.
If you ain't first, you're last. But that low line now, they're starting to build up some cars, and they're starting to make some good runs here. Yeah, as you stated, it's still really calm. We got 16 laps to go. But that low line starting to build. They're about equal on the amount of cars right now. But the mains have worked so well with each other and have dictated this race to this point. I'm really intrigued on if that low line can do anything. As you see, it almost matters on the cars, but they're not getting the run that I'd be expecting.
Well, and I think part of the problem is we'll go high overhead for this. The line generally on that high line, there's less gaps. It's a little more uniform. Whereas that low line, we see 1, 2, maybe even 3 car length gaps between some of the cars. And we're pretty much seeing at most a car and a half on that top line. It makes a huge difference in the overall speed of the group, even though if we go and look at the front few cars, they are on top of each other.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. How much is this again that they're not wanting to be quite racy? I mean, we're 15 laps to go. It only takes 5 laps to get, from the back of the field to the front of this field. You just got to be able to make the right move. So I'm interested to know how many of these guys are just still saying, hey, let me relax, as we're seeing a car now moving towards that mid line. Will he leave tuck back up? But is he spotting right now? Is he looking, saying, hey, can I leave, these top 3 cars and get into the middle line and shove them out of here?
And honestly, I would not be surprised if we spend the last 2 laps with 3 distinct lines. Now may not be the time. We're seeing a lot of separation there because, again, the side draft is huge in these cars. So if you get a little too close, you can either have your speed killed, as we see the 14 get themselves back up to the front of this pack. And right there, Brandon Holder in the 31 is right there on the bumper. And we're starting to see that outside line kind of die off a little bit. We're seeing them drift down to get a little bit of side draft and see what they can do with it. But it's looking like the 14 is going to lead this lap.
Yeah, that low line starting to come back in. Vincent Guerrero leading that low line side by side as they come across the stripe. 13 laps to go here at Talladega, and duel number 1 to set the field for the 500 tomorrow night.
Yeah, tomorrow afternoon.
Afternoon. It's all the same to me. I go to bed early.
Yeah, that's your army man thing, because you're probably waking up at 4 a.m.
No, that'd be false. I wake up at about 8. I got a 9 to 5 job right now in the Army. Don't get those very often, man. I'm absorbing it. But hey, there in the back, you start seeing a little bit of shifting around. Look at that. I mean, you're starting to see cars flail, go up, down. They're starting to make, starting to look. They want to find that line that's going to work for them to help get them to the front. And 13 laps to go, that's starting to get a little dicey here in the back of this group.
Well, and that's exactly it. You may be able to make a good run from the very back, but you still need to be in a good position to make that run when the time comes, and we're starting to reach that point that you need to put yourself in the right position, make it to where there's fewer cars for you to get around once it becomes go time in those, I would say, the last 2 laps.
Yeah, I wouldn't probably make a lap earlier than lap number 5, but as you just stated, right now, if you can make your, a little bit of time, pick up a position here, there, 3 wide as they come through turn number 4, coming out and heading towards the tri-oval. This is the time, if you're running back here in this back group of the lead pack, try to see if the low line's working a little better. High line, grab a couple positions. If you can grab a couple, get into the drafting, pick up a couple more, start doing it, but start working your way up if you want to contend for this dual number 1 win.
And that's exactly what I'm hoping to start seeing guys do. There's plenty of space down that middle, maybe not coming out of the corners as we're starting to see, but these guys, that gap is there, and I'll be honest, I'm the kind of aggressive person that's going to try to take it, as we're actually starting to see somebody's looking to get themselves down into that lower line, and that looks like it is, as now everybody keeps shuffling around. It's Dustin Longston who drops down to the low line. He was kind of probing on that middle line to see if anybody would follow him. He's got Jeff Mathis behind him that looks like he's thinking about it himself, and we're starting to see exactly that. We're seeing a lot of cars.
Big hit right there.
We've got
big
a car
hit right
in the
there.
wall, and that is caution. The 54 of Dustin Longston gets the commentator's curse, and I'm going to apologize for that already.
Hey, man, I mean, as you stated, they started getting a little dicey. Once that diciness started happening, you started seeing guys just get a little loose. And what that causes is these guys to lose a bit of speed. You got a guy come up, he's going to hit you, and it's not intentional, but sometimes it is hard to check up that quick at that speed and to know that cars are checking up like that. And unfortunately, that's kind of what you've seen there, is you started seeing some diciness happening.
Yeah, and we'll go ahead and jump back here and take a look at what happens. We see a car that just kind of goes a little squirrely, and that's the 10 of, oh good lord, Kyle Benson. Just get a little loose. Hits the wall to where his hood's not looking all that fantastic right now, but at the end of the day, still rolling forward and still has a shot at this.
So as I'm coming back and looking at it, I want to say that I think this is a cause and effect wreck. And I believe the cause of this was the one of Jason Manes. And it wasn't anything that Jason Manes had done, but it was the fact that Jason Manes had got shuffled out of that high line to the higher line. And once that happened, the 31, his, relative, I'm going to assume his brother, I could be wrong about that, but Garrett Manes really tried to stay in front of the 96 there of Austin Reedy, and when he did, Austin Reedy gave him a good little shove, and cars started checking up at that point. And once them cars started checking up, nobody really had anywhere to go. They were just trying to avoid from running in the back to somebody. I'm looking here, the 16 come down. He looked like he was shuffling, tried to avoid the 4, and the 16 went straight up to the wall. And unfortunately, the 10, he was trying to avoid the 16, come down, caught the 54. And again, I think that was one of those cause and effects of just unfortunate racing there.
Well, as we're only seeing about half the field make their way into the pits, the 14 stays out and takes over the lead of this race. But the guys that we were seeing running at the front of this pack all make their way in. So, Andrew Coody, we have both of the Manes come in. Or no, we only see Jason Manes make their way into pit lane. I have a feeling that because they were at the front of those packs and they're going to be a little questionable to make it to the end. So get yourself in, get the fuel, and make it to where you can go all in full throttle for the rest of this race.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking at the guys coming in for fuel. I think that goes to show that first caution a little early. I don't think anybody was really comfortable on the fuel mileage aspect. So I think when you're looking at the 31 of Garrett Manes, I think he was really relieved to see this caution, able to get some fuel or conserve some fuel at that. And now these guys are good to go to the end if there's extra laps, anything like that. What I'm interested in knowing is how many of these guys played the fuel game and they're still calculating fuel in their mind. Obviously, the 14 of Vincent Guerrero, he's playing the fuel card right now. He's saying, no extra laps. I'm making it on fuel and I'm winning this.
And
he's also leading, so he's going to burn more fuel than everybody else. Did he take that into account? How many of the guys that went into the pits, did they just put in 3-4 gallons, say this is going to make me to the end, but it's going to give me the track position I need? I just really intrigued in that.
We have to remember the top 19 get themselves into tomorrow's race. And in all honesty, my mindset is, as long as I make it to that, I have a chance. So these guys that came in, grabbed fuel, a few grabbed tires, you know what? I know I'm going to make it to the end. As long as my car's still running, I should be fine. And some of these guys, it could be questionable. We have Vincent, who's got to have... He had a few laps at the front of the pack. So if he's able to make it on fuel, he's absolutely fantastic at saving. But I'm also the person that knows we're talking Talladega. We know people are going to get racy at the back of this field trying to make their way in to the final. I would not be shocked if we have at least one more caution tonight in this first duel.
Yeah, it wouldn't shock me at all. I mean, when we go back green flag racing, it looks like the lights are out on the truck, so we should be going with 6 laps to go. I think that you're going to start seeing some aggressive racing really, really quick, and it'll be interesting to see on who survives this. Getting a lot of love out there. We see, Travis Anderson giving a little love to the MRMS team. We got David Overstreet giving a little bit of love to the SSK team. And Cody Witt saying Paul Witt and his former teammates, rooting those guys on. So I'm intrigued. Anybody out there that, who you rooting for? Who's your driver? And, do you follow these guys on a weekly basis? I really want to know what you guys think right now.
I will admit that I'm very curious. Some of the regulars that I'm used to seeing, we've got Justin Anderson out there as usual. But some of these guys are new to the Ghostfire media broadcasts. We love to know who you've got your money on for the night as we're waiting for the pace truck to go ahead and peel off and get ourselves back to green. We've got a long night of racing tonight, and tomorrow's going to be a fantastic event. So we're hoping to see you there, and we know who you're out there wanting to see do fantastic. Where Man Outdoors is rooting for the 21 in Daniel Holloway. I will screw that up more times than I care to admit. But we're reaching the Geico restart zone. We'll head to the chopper, and they wait until the bitter end to get themselves moving once again. And we're starting to see these guys really get up there. The 429 of Paul Witt actually is making his way up towards the front and giving a fantastic push to one of the 2 31s that we have out there on track.
3 wide right now. We're seeing 3 wide racing there. Just a little bit further back is one guy getting shuffled in the middle. But here we go. One of the drivers, believe that is the number 9, just jumped up, and he's looking to make a move, trying to make his way back up. As again, 3 wide, we got 38-24, and I believe that's the 96. And these guys are getting racy as we kind of predicted a little bit earlier.
Well, you were. I was saying we were going to wait until 2, but we're starting to see it a lot earlier than I would have anticipated. But again, we're right after a caution. And we're starting to see these guys get a little bit racier than we had been seeing. And we're seeing the 9 back there of Andrew Coody. He is falling back. He doesn't really have much to race for. He's making the race no matter what, being the fastest qualifier. But still, after the strong race he had, he's linking up with Jason Manes. They were fighting it out earlier, but now they're trying to go 3 wide along that outside lane. And we're actually seeing the 31 of Garrett Manes is doing everything he can to provide a little bit extra draft to bring those 2 back up to the front. But there's only going to be so much that can be done. Brandon Holder in the 31 is taking over the lead of this race. And I'm going to assume, as we are coming across the line for 4 to go, that's what Vincent Guerrero wanted, because that's going to give him an opportunity to save some fuel after not stopping, leading a few laps. That's what he's going to need to see. But we're going to jump to the blimp as we're starting to see a lot of stuff going on towards the back of the field. We'll go to the chopper and a little bit farther back as we're seeing the 9 of Andrew Coody and the 1 of Jason Manes trying to make something happen on that outside line.
Yeah, and as you stated earlier, this is really helping Brandon Holder there in the lead. When you were kind of looking up front there, what I had seen is the number 9 of Andrew Coody. He had a run there on the 24 of Jeff Glockner, and I believe that's Jeff Glockner. And when he did, what he did is he jumped to the outside, and he was trying to make that move. I'm sorry, that is not Jeff Glockner. But anyhow,
that is PJ Luttrell.
Okay, thank you. It's not showing the NSIM 24, so that's where it confused me.
We're actually, as I say that, he's dropping like a rock on that middle line. But we're going to go back up towards the front here. We're going to go focus on the 31 of Garrett Manes because it's giving us a good view of the entire pack here. That outside line, the 31 is getting a fantastic push from the 96 of Austin Reedy. And that he's moving down to get a little bit of the side draft. And we're starting to see that outside line get real racy as we're about to come to the line with 2 to go.
I was just about to tell you, keep an eye out there on Andrew Coody. He was going to have a run. He had a gap there on, I believe that was the 88. And when he did, that's Tristan Bailey. And when he did, he was going to get a run. What helped him there was the 29 moved up to that high line. When he did, he got a heck of a run. I knew he was going to jump to the outside. 3 wide right now.
We've got 2 to go. And Andrew Coody, Matt Dula, and Ryan Johnson, they're trying to make that outside line work, get themselves up there, and it looks like they're doing it. The 31 jumps up to block a little bit of that run, but it's actually turning into a brilliant push from the 9, and that's what we're wanting to see. This is going to be a fantastic run in as we are about to hit the tri-oval, come across the stripe to the end of the race. We're going to get ourselves a white flag. The 31 is getting a fantastic
Look at this run.
Oh, as Coody drops down to that low line, he's got a lot of speed, but he may have done that just a little too early. But we're seeing the 31 use that side draft to his advantage. Matt Dula is coming up there right on the bumper. We're seeing the 15 join the fray of Dustin Sutler. Oh, he's got a fantastic
Another big run.
The 31 dropping in to stop
3
it.
wide, all over each other. 4 wide.
4 wide, and Matt Dula. Oh, we have contact.
Big wreck.
And that is going to make it. I don't want to go away from this. Matt Dula and Ryan Johnson pulling an amazing run to the end of this race. And holy crap. And
the 38 comes in side by side. Matt Dula.
Matt Dula takes the win.
Oh,
there is nothing like a last lap at
I
Talladega.
love restrictor plate racing. Hey, Ross is out there. Good old Ross. Ross, I gotta know, man. Did your heart stop there? Ross, one of our older guys that watch. And what do you think of that finish, man? Did it make your heart stop?
Oh,
made mine.
That honestly, that one could not have ended any more dramatically. Matt Dula, someone we barely had an opportunity to talk about throughout the course of this race, ultimately manages to get himself up there, get himself the win with an amazing push from Ryan Johnson. And Ryan gets second, and Andrew Coody is third. That is going to be our inside line. Let's just take a quick run through the results there and wait to see if we can get ourselves Matt Duel in here to talk to him while we switch over to the second duel. But let's run through the results. Our winner of duel number 1 is Matt Dula. Second is Ryan Johnson. Third is Andrew Coody. Fourth is Garrett Manes. Fifth, Vincent Guerrero. Sixth, Brandon Holder. Seventh, Tristan Bailey. Eighth, Kenneth Bishop. Ninth, Jeremy Stanley. 10th, Paul Witt. 11th is Colton Zimmer. And 12th is Dustin Longston.
Yeah, and we got Jim Westerfield in 13th, David Sluter in 14th, and 15th, Jason Main, 16th, Julian Conde, 17th, Daniel Holloway, and 18th, David Sheets, in 19th, Austin Reedy, in 20th, Jeff Glockner, in 21st, PJ Luttrell, in 22nd, we have, sorry, I'm going to go to my other one, William Britton, in 23rd, Jeff Mathis, 24th, Tyler Murray, in 25th, Denver Turkson, and rounding out our field in 26, it's Kyle Benson.
All right, let's just go ahead and roll through and see if there is anybody that we would be able to get up here in the booth to chat. And it does not look like any of these guys are in.
We don't really have to, right?
Discord.
Fortunately, Matt Duel is not in there. Ryan Johnson not showing in Discord. If you guys are out there and you guys are listening, go ahead and let us know, jump in real quick so we can pull you.
2 seconds, because
go ahead. I'm gonna keep going through here.
Be able to find them, because, in all honesty,
Brandon Holder,
I may have another opportunity. And no,
Tristan Bailey.
No.
Hey, you know what? Hey, the admin just jumped in, so we can talk to him real quick.
I was gonna say
this works. I was thinking about pulling him in too during caution, but I didn't want to interrupt his work.
I can fix this.
I was gonna say I actually jumped over to the North-South TeamSpeak to see if maybe they were in there, but
anytime an admin says I can fix this, you know it's never good.
So now you should be able to have the NSRL boys.
Oh, yep, we got them. Hey, thank you. Yep, we got both Ryan, Matt Dula, and Ryan Johnson. Okay, we can see them now.
All right, Larry, you go ahead and chat with them while I get us moved over to duel number 2.
Hey, Matt, it's Larry and Josh and Robbie in the booth, man. You got a copy?
Absolutely. What's going on, guys?
Man, you have to be elated after that finish. How you feel after that?
Oh my gosh, I needed that one. I've had so many of these races that are like money races go so terribly for me, like the Podium 500 that, we got in, but then I got wrecked on like lap 20 or something. So it was nice to finally be able to show our speed. This Dante Curtis Designs NSRL After Dark Chevy, or Ford rather. Sorry, I'm used to driving Chevys. Was very loose off of 2 most of the laps on the old tires. So there for a while I was riding in the back just trying not to bend it. But then I got Ryan behind me with like 2 or 3 to go, was able to go 3 wide up there, push Garrett, who I knew would be a reliable car to beat with, obviously. And man, we got to the front, and then I got to race Garrett to the line, and I pulled up at the very end of the last lap, thinking that there was no way Ryan was even going to get anywhere close to me. But I wanted to like kind of get alongside him for, the finish. And that guy, he got within 1/1000th of a second of me. So I won't be doing that tomorrow if put in the same position.
I'm not gonna lie. When we see you come to the flag, I was like, "Oh, he's got it." And then Ryan got really close. I was like, "Oh, I hope he didn't slow down." Oh, it was a fantastic finish though. Josh just made the mention that the funny thing is we didn't, as you stated, you kind of ran towards the back, so we didn't get to talk to you about you much. And man, to come out and to take that win, what does that mean going to you to tomorrow night?
Well, I think it provides a lot of momentum. I think I learned a lot in this in the duel on how to get up towards the front. I think that the racecraft is going to be a little different tomorrow because it's going to be a longer race. People are going to be more patient. Fuel strategy might be important, and definitely getting on and off pit road, which are places that I'm going to have to really practice. But it definitely helps to figure out how the cars draft with each other. Figure out who you can ride consistently around, because a lot of these guys will be there tomorrow. So it was very worthwhile making that run to the front. I can't believe that it worked out to a win. There were a couple times on the last 2 laps where I thought I was going to wreck, but I'm glad that I'm here. So very excited to be on the pole for tomorrow. That's going to be a really cool experience.
Honestly, getting to watch you throughout the North-South Racing League, chatting with you before, this is actually, I think, the most excited that I've ever heard you.
Yeah, Ryan and I were screaming in the Discord, just like, let's go. We were so stoked, man. We rode around the back the whole time. So this is great. I hope that I can have some exciting moments like this in the SRL in next coming seasons too. But
yeah, we'll get to see what happens there. But no, this is fantastic. You get to start. You get the position of glory come tomorrow, and also you get $25 for winning that one.
Hey, I'll take it. Any money's better than no money, right? I'm stoked. This is great. That wasn't even in my mind. In this heat, I didn't even think about that. So that's really cool to learn, actually.
And honestly, it's a fantastic run, but we've got to go ahead and chat with your buddy that you probably owe him at least $5 of that 25 for that push.
All right, man. Well, I'll be talking to you guys tomorrow at some point.
Hey, man, absolutely, man. Congratulations. Have a good one. Enjoy the victory.
Thank you.
All right, let me go ahead. We'll grab Ryan Johnson, bring him in. Hey, Ryan, it's Larry and Josh in the booth, man. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you guys. What's up?
Man, insane finish. You come up on your buddy there at the end. Did you think you had something for him? Was you trying to side draft? Did you think you might be able to catch him there at the line?
Yeah, I mean, I was just committed to, us helping each other, the whole race. And towards those last couple laps, we were in the Discord together, and I was like, "Stay up here," because he almost cleared himself off of somebody. I'm like, "Don't do that! Like, let's make the big race first." And he sat in front of me, and then I think we were 4 wide in turn 3, and saw everybody go spinning, and I was like, "Yes!" And I hit him, and I thought he was gonna stay low, and I would have tried the outside and tried to side draft him, but yeah, made it exciting at least. We won 1,000th, I think it was, so hell of a finish.
So what you're telling me is, come tomorrow, all bets are off.
In let's say the last couple laps, yes.
Oh, yeah. You have no teammates once you hit the last 2 laps on a plate track.
Oh, of course not. No, everybody's going for the win. I mean, who doesn't want it,
Well, especially when you've got $300 on the line.
Exactly.
So what you're telling me is you're heading to the stripe and you can get to the back end of them and hit them. You're going to hit them.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I love to hear. That's what I love to hear. That's perfect, man. So what was the strategy for tonight, man? Was you going out there with the mindset of winning this, or did you just kind of want to hang around, get a good finish, get a good starting position for tomorrow?
Honestly, just survive and transfer to the race was really the only goal. But towards the end there, we found each other. We were working together. We lost each other a couple times, but we made our way back. And towards the end, we were like, well, I mean, why not try and win it? What's the point of racing if we're not trying to win? So we were going for it. But
honestly, it was a fantastic finish. We got to see you a few times giving amazing pushes to people. I've already learned once before that you would be the person I want behind me, but at the same time, you don't want to be the person behind me.
Right. 100%.
But no, fantastic run, and God, tomorrow, second on the inside line. It's better starting position than today, and looking forward to seeing what you can do.
Hell yeah, me too. First one of these bigger races that I really made. So be interesting to see what happens.
Man, it was a great finish. We look forward to tomorrow. Hopefully, get rise some of that momentum going into tomorrow, and get some rest, and let's get ready to go racing. Well, tomorrow, right?
Hell yeah, 10-4. I'll see you guys tomorrow.
All right, man. Have a good one.
Y'all too.
All right. Well, we got a little bit before this next one. Let's grab Andrew Coody and bring him in. Oh, I missed him. Lost him. Where'd he go? There he is.
He's too far.
I got him. Hey, Andrew, it's Larry and Josh in the booth, man. You got a copy? This guy's mic off right now. He may not have this.
He may be off celebrating surviving.
Wait.
No, I'm here.
Wait.
I'm here.
There he is.
Didn't realize push to talk was on.
No, all good, man. Hey, that was a great run from you there. Looking strong all race, man. How does it feel to grab that third? Did you feel like that's a letdown, or are you pleased with that finish for the night?
Well, honestly, I'm surprised I was able to get back up there. On that last caution with like less than 10 to go, I was thinking, and being that I was the only one that was actually fully locked into the race via the qualifying yesterday, I decided to come down, fill up, take tires, and be semi-stable with my car until the end. And I knew I was going to have a shot if I had a helper. And then Jason Manes pushed me up until we cleared Ryan, and then Garrett jumped up, and then we kind of just slingshot to the front. If he didn't side suck me, I probably would have been okay, but he side drafted me, and then for a minute I thought I was, and then I guess they were blocking up front, and I was able to get some draft and slide back up there up to third. So I'll start sixth tomorrow, or fifth tomorrow, which will be nice. But I was just glad I was able to lock myself in, so I didn't have to worry about this race and getting wrecked in the last lap and not making the race. So I'm just glad to be in the show tomorrow.
Well, I mean, in all honesty, it's a difference of opinion knowing that we've got 500 miles come tomorrow. The real question always ends up becoming, is it good to start at the back to where you can just conserve until we hit the last 20, 25 laps, to where maybe you have one less pit stop than everyone else? Or do you really want to be at the front to where you get to dictate the race?
Well, see, it's funny. I've actually done one of these already this year. I did the Die Hard 500, and it was 188 laps at Talladega and the next gens, just like this. The only difference was the package was different, and I was racing Coke Pros and big names in sim racing, and I was able to pull out a W with that one. So I'm just hoping to kind of repeat here, and that race was definitely a don't die, and you're gonna have a shot at it at the end. But that's kind of what I'm thinking about going into this one, and just hoping that I can see that white flag within the top 10 and have a shot at it. So but I just want to thank all the guys at Guardian Esports and my team that I created last year, and we're slowly but surely growing our reputation, and we're got big things in the works, and I just want to thank all of them over there at Guardian Esports. And today I had my best friend's father on the hood. My best friend lost his father to cancer two years ago today, actually. So I'm gonna have him on the hood tomorrow. I'm gonna be racing with him, and but yeah, I also have FTF tonight, so twitch.tv/Guardian Esports _official if you'd like to watch that tonight after the duels. But that second duel is going to be a good race. Hopefully, if this race showed anything, that one's going to be fun. So thank you guys for putting this on.
It's an absolute blast, and I will be the first to admit that I'd rather be in the booth for one of these races, because I know I get too frustrated. And
Oh, it's scary. I won't lie. My heart was racing at that last when we were 3x3x3. My heart was racing pretty fast. I won't lie.
You know what? You really did not show because, again, you took the pit stop. You got yourself. You were one of the storylines for the night, being the one person that did not have to worry about racing. So it was always going to be the curiosity of, is he going to go all in to get that win? Or is he just going to just try to get the best position he could? And you could tell you were out there for the win.
Yeah, I was genuinely surprised that I got the pole. I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. I put down one of the first laps last night. I was genuinely surprised I was P1. Honestly thought Garrett Manes was gonna show up and whip my butt by like 2 or 3 hundredths, and yeah, I was surprised. I'm just glad I locked myself in. So
No, it was a fantastic run from you all night, showing a fantastic racecraft. I'm looking forward to see what happens over 500 miles tomorrow.
hell yeah, I'll see you
Hey,
guys
man.
tomorrow.
Yeah, man, have a heck of a run, and we look forward to seeing you do what you do and put on a show for us tomorrow night.
Yeah, definitely look for that number 9. I'm gonna try and be up front as long as I can.
Well, you have a good. Hey, good luck to your other race tonight, man. You're wild for racing this one and then going to run another one.
Yeah, I'm gonna be a little bit sore tomorrow morning. I won't lie.
Hey, man, good luck to you tonight. Have a good one.
Yeah, you too, man.
All right, Josh. I think that's going to do it for the first one. It's first duel.
Honestly,
My brain's a little fried from that finish. That was a wild.
that is
finish.
gonna throw me for a loop for a while because
How do you beat that? Like, I just want everybody to know out there. I know some of the guys for duel number 2 was watching, and I hope they're still watching. Put on a show for me. Top that. Prove me wrong that you can't top that.
at least though, wait until the last few laps because in all honesty, I don't think my body can handle 50 laps of that.
Ross said his pacemaker kept his heart going. You know what? Hey, man, that works, I guess.
All right,
man.
we are getting the drivers meeting for the second duel going. So we're going to be waiting a few minutes to get this one moving. So again, I'm going to go ahead. I really want to thank the sponsors from tonight that really were able to bring this to you. We have 5 Star Realty Group. They are located on the Emerald Coast in beautiful Panama City, Florida. 5 Star Realty Group has years of experience in residential properties, investment opportunities, vacation rentals, and commercial properties. They look forward to helping you with all your real estate needs. These guys, they are a sponsor of the North-South Racing League, which is why we're part of this. They really help to bring racing out and truly are a great partner to make sure that, you know what, there's a great place for people to race. They're helping put on this fantastic event, making sure that we have everything to bring entertainment not only to the drivers, but everybody that loves racing. And then the one group that our winners are looking forward to the most, we have Kelly's Custom Engraving. They are a locally owned and operated business in Blauville. Help me, Larry, you're in the North Carolina. Hopefully you know how that's actually pronounced.
Oh, that's a nope. Got nothing for you, buddy.
But
you know, I met you live in North Carolina. I am not from North Carolina.
I know you're from Ohio like me.
but
But they specialize in custom engraving wood, leather, glass, acrylic, and many other materials. Be sure to follow them on Facebook because the winner of tomorrow's race will be getting something from Kelly's Custom Engraving to commemorate their win. And again, I'm going to keep bringing up North-South Racing League because the admins that are running this are the same group that run that, and they provide absolutely amazing trophies for the special events that they have throughout the course of their season, which actually kicks off July 11th here on Ghost Fire Media, and I'm looking forward to it. It's a brilliant league. Street stocks, I cannot say enough about the quality of racing, but we are hitting our grid for duel number 2. Hopefully we get to see the same level of fantastic racing we just got to see, but let's go ahead and run through our starting grid for the night. Starting off in first is Matthew Baker. Second is David Grantham. Third, Brad Neer. Fourth, Chris Akers. Fifth, Steve Loving. Sixth, Braxton DeWee. Seventh, TJ Rogers. Eighth, Craig Lautenslaughter. You will be Craig for the night. And ninth is Randy Nichols. 10th.
We'll go with Lautenslager.
Okay, that works. And then 11th is Michael Titanium Everhart.
I love it.
And then, oh god, they started moving, so I can't see things.
So 11th is Jarrell Duffin, and 12th it's Michael Everhart. In
Oh.
13th, it's Mike Vano. In 14th, it's Kenneth McCullough.
McCullough.
See, you said that one better than me. And 15th, it's Ambrose Nebel. And 16th, my favorite one, I've been looking forward to this one, Kyle K-Knapp. By the way, that's actually Kyle Knapp, but this is just a little inside joke to the Discord earlier.
He made sure to tell us that it's just Knapp, but no, it's K-Knapp.
Hey, 17th, we got Shane Weldon. And 18th, we got Kevin Haas. In 19th, we got John J-Man Monkowski. In 20th, Terry Radford. In 21st, Andrew Zanto. In 22nd, we have Anthony Ferrente. I think that was good. In 23rd, Cade Green. And in 24th, Jordan Geronimo. I'm sorry if I butchered your name, buddy. I mean that
French-Canadian names throw me.
That was probably really bad. In 25th, we got Nash Brambilla. In 26th, we got Brandon Minnick. In 27th, we got Cody Nagels. Is it Nagel?
Nagel.
Okay, thank you. And 28th, Travis Anderson. And in 29th, rounding out the field, Elliot Carlson.
All right, we are getting ourselves through turn 4. Out there on the track, we will go ahead, get ourselves racing. We'll start off with the blimp here. Watch this field tighten themselves up as the pace truck goes ahead and peels off. And you know what? We've got another 50 laps of brilliant racing. We have discovered that we're only talking one stop still, even with 50 laps. They're approaching the Geico restart zone, which is, again, a little earlier than I remembered the flag coming out, but we are green. And our front runner, Matthew Baker, getting himself up there, getting moving. And we're going to go ahead and see if that outside line's going to be able to form up the same way that we were getting to see in the first of the duels. But it's looking like they're a little disheveled, and we actually may have a few people that look like they're going to drop off the back of the pack a little bit as we're starting to see shuffling towards around the top 10 and seeing everybody jockeying for position. We're going a little 3 wide, and these guys going to have to do what they can to keep themselves in contention and on this main pack to start duel number 2.
Yeah, man, off that start, you seen it looked like everybody was a little bit, I don't want to say discombobulated, but it was definitely more spread out, and you can see it right now. Your top, I would say maybe around 12-ish, they're kind of in that, you know, 2-lane, you know, aspect. Outside of that, you see some big gaps, 2-3 car gaps going back through the field. Now, is that a big issue? Not right now, only because of the front did start opening up a little bit. People started moving around a little bit. But if that front starts to organize and they start pushing each other really strong, look for that front group to start pulling away from the other groups, because they're still a little discombobulated. It looks like KNAP might be the last car there in that back of that field, or maybe that's Kevin Haas. It's Kevin Haas. It's Kevin Haas. Well, and they're starting to catch him now, so I think we're going to be all right. I think that back group's going to be okay.
They're going to stay in touch. But we got to see, as we were going through there, we saw Braxton DeWeese, who's up 2 positions, cutting himself down to that low line. We're seeing the 04 of Ambrose Neville just a little bit alone on that outside line. It's only 3 deep, and honestly, the more we stay with these small lines on the outside, the more opportunity we see to people making their way, falling back. But we're starting to see a little bit of a gaggle towards the back here, as Shaden Weldon Sr. is leading a little bit of a pack, trying to make that outside line work. But at this point, they're going to need a whole lot of help to be able to make this work and get them all the way back up towards the front.
Yeah, and again, you're starting to see that just some breaks between cars. I mean, 2, 3, 4. I'm looking at a gap right now. It looks like it's about 4 car lengths. So you're definitely not seeing any strong pushing going through the field like you did in the first one. The top, I'd say maybe 10 right now. They've got, you know, some decent pushes going on. Nobody doing anything too aggressive right now at this point. But you're starting to see a lot of single file, and I'm not mad about that. I think what that's going to do is these guys get single file and they just kind of run around this track. It's going to keep us green flag, but I don't expect this. You know, I'd say about 20 laps to go.
But that's the one thing that we need to keep in mind. Yes, we're early in this race. Going single file isn't the worst idea, as we're focused right now on Braxton DeWeese, who has the fastest lap of this race as we cross the stripe to where that may be going away. But in all honesty, these guys, as we go to the blind view, we're seeing a whole lot less racing at the opening stages of this second duel, to where we have to go pretty far back in the field to see people not in line. And you know what? This is probably going to do a better job of keeping it to where we don't have cautions. But again, if we're talking about guys that are a solid 3 seconds behind the leaders, eventually that becomes insurmountable.
You know, honestly, as I watch this, I think what this breeds is it's going to breed more aggressive racing in those latter stages. And the reason being is kind of like you said, if you're running right now, I would say 20th. 20th is looking, let's just go, 20th. A half a second back right now on the leader. So they've got a full half a second that they've got to make up. Or no, excuse me, 2.6 seconds.
Yeah,
on the leader.
We're approaching that 3 second mark.
Yeah, so what you're going to see is when these guys start breaking out and they start saying, okay, laps around, you know, winding down, we got to go. You're going to see guys making some aggressive moves. That's going to make for an exciting second half, but I definitely think that the riding around thing right now is okay.
Yeah, we saw an early caution in the first duel, which ultimately did end up making it to where people could make it on fuel. As we see our first. And that's a big one. We were in the right position for that one. But let's go ahead and take a look. We're basically at the exact same point that we were in the last, but Shane Weldon Sr. is the first one on my list. Let's change our angle here to see what happens. As, the 77 just gets that little bit of a tag that wasn't really being expected, and just, it was off center, which is just enough to throw him off. up there into the 09. And yeah, we have our first one, and that's Elliot Carlson that just kind of wrong place, wrong time to end up collected there, slammed into the wall, and that's unfortunate because that is the kind of hit that's a race ender.
You got about 7 cars involved in that one. Yeah, Shane Weldon, I mean, he just kind of came down below that yellow line just a little bit. And coming back up, the car behind him was just there already. And like you said, it wasn't a square hit and it turned him. I mean, that's restrictor plate racing. It's kind of one of the things that if you're going to hit somebody, it's got to be square on. If it's not, it's going to cause an issue.
It is, and that's what we're seeing. That, you know what? We're right at the point to where we are in the exact same location as duel number 1. Everybody was able to make it on fuel.
Well, they had another caution. They had another caution, remember, and some people did fuel.
Correct, but
in duel number 2. So I don't know. I'm intrigued.
I would be, in my personal opinion, I'm going to be the one that's going to stay out for that first lap and come in, give up whatever track position I already have, as it's looking like we have 2 people that are pulling that, to where it is the 81 of Brandon Minnick and Terry Radford. These 2 are going to go ahead, stay out. And I'm not sure if the thought process is let's go ahead, wait for that second lap, or are we going to expect another caution?
You know, and that
didn't really have it.
That's a good question there. I would say these guys are going to come down. I wouldn't chance it. I do like what they're doing right now. You know, get that extra little lap of fuel. It's okay if you're mid pack. It doesn't hurt you a couple of positions, and you know you can work your way back up there. So it'll be interesting to see. You mentioned Terry Radford. Terry Radford's got a little bit of love going out there. Tiffany Whaley out there showing some love towards Terry Radford. So, Tim Tripler said he painted that. I'm assuming Terry Radford's car is what I'm going to assume. Just let me know. But yeah, man, I would assume that these guys are going to come down. Like I said, you know, you don't want to be the one left hanging if there is no caution from here. You know, if you stay out and you don't get fuel now, you're kind of already betting that there won't be there will be another caution.
And that's kind of the thing, that these are the kinds of gambles that you can make on these kinds of tracks, because it's not a position track. Passes come relatively easy on a super speedway, so it's not like you're running a Martinsville that it's nearly impossible to pass. And yeah, that one extra lap could be the difference. We've seen it once already. As I'm trying to figure out, is he flirting with that line because he's about to go ahead and dive down, or are we gonna go for some laps led and chance it? It's looking like Terry Radford is making his way down in.
But Brandon Minnick didn't. So I'm okay.
And you know what? He could be gambling with the track position and looking to do what he can, as we actually have a few others that are going through to top off. Steve Loving, Terry Radford, Chris McCullough, Kenneth McCullough. I would say we've got about a third of the field making another trip down, making sure they've got that extra lap. And I'm going to stick with, I 100% believe it to be the right call.
You know, man, I'm really intrigued by this. It's definitely an interesting move by Brandon Minnick. I mean, like I said, you're kind of betting that there's going to be another caution. If there is, works out great for him, right? He gets the track position. More than likely, everybody comes down for, you know, the fuel then as well. But I'm going to tell you, I like what Terry Radford did. He stayed out that one extra lap and then comes in. If I'm Terry Radford, I don't pit if there's another caution in this race. If I think I can make it or if it's going to be close, I've got one extra lap on everybody else that does not pit. I chance it.
And we have to look with the number of people that ended up going in. He did not lose much track positions. He's out there in 18th. He's in one of the safe spots. And you know what? Again, we've covered it enough. That's the right call.
Tim Tripler says he just knows not to destroy his work. He did paint Terry Radford's car, so obviously he's saying, "Hey, man."
Well, unfortunately, he's towards the back of the field, where if we have something go on at the front, yeah, you may have to paint another one.
Hey, I'll tell you what though, Tim Tripler will never paint you a car, Josh.
Yeah, no. I destroy cars too much.
He'd be cussing you the entire race.
The bright side, it's a very simple thing in the sim is we see the pace truck going ahead and peeling off. Brandon Minnick is going to lead us to the line and lead this pack on to start lap 11 of 50. As we are approaching, I forgot how long it takes, but he's off, and it's looking like that outside line got a little bit better of a jump to where the 6 of David Graham, which is showing up as 15, but it's a 6. Or a 9 if Larry's looking at it.
But, yeah, hey, I need to put my glasses on.
But right now, Brandon Minnick is getting a fantastic push from Chris Akers, but the 38 of Brett, no. Yeah, the 38 of Matthew Baker. Yeah, the whole different numbers. No, that's actually a 26. I just lied. We've been at this for too long.
I am so happy that you just messed up a number after making fun of me for messing up a number. That is definitely a 26, buddy. That top line. Just real quick, though, I mean, just the restart difference between that restart after the caution and the first restart is night and day difference, right? We're seeing a lot more outside line work here, guys moving up, down, trying to find track position. So I'm interested to see, is this going to be the new standard for the rest of this race? Guys shifting down, are they going to go back to a single file?
You know what? I don't think, as we're starting to see a lot more cars jump out to that outside line. But unfortunately, part of the problem with that right now is we're starting to see little separation, and that's never a good thing on these kind of tracks, to where if they don't form up and get themselves up to that draft, we could see 2 distinct packs going around. And unfortunately, the person at the nope, skip one too many. Kyle Knapp, he's at the front of this back pack, and he's in 17th, which means only 2 people from this pack, unless we have another caution to pull everyone back together. These guys are going to be fighting for their survival as just one group, as we're starting to see them form up perfectly to get themselves where they need to be.
That right there, if I was those guys, I'd be yelling at each other, hey, let's get in line, let's catch this lead group. This isn't where we want to be. We don't want to be fighting with each other for these last 2 spots. Let's make a run here and let's catch up to them. So kudos to them. K-Nap getting a massive push here by Christopher McCullough. And, I think that if they work together tandemly with this lead group here running double 5, I think they could definitely catch them.
Unfortunately, I'm looking at the gaps here, and they're getting dropped by about 1/10 of a second, but now, of course, as I say that, it's starting to close back up.
Yeah, he catches that 1/10 of a second there on Terry Radford coming out of turn 2. 1.5 now the gap back. So they just need to stay in line here. They need to not be shuffling around like they just did. You see the cars kind of poking out. I don't know if they're trying to get air or what it is, but they've closed the gap down to 1.4. They need to stay in line right now. They need to be all over each other. Take the chance on that car overheating, because You're going to need to do this if you're going to catch
Travis
everybody else.
Anderson peels off the rest of the pack in the 24 to come into the pits. Not sure what's going on there, but at the same time, we're seeing this front group. They're starting to get single file for the most part, and that's really what they need to do if they're wanting to kind of keep this separation, but they're still a little bit trying to get that outside line back to working. And given that backpack in Kyle Knapp, I'm not going to do it to him like you are. They're closing back in. They're 1.3 seconds, and you know what? It's staying pretty solid, but we're also seeing a few people slowly falling off of that pack as Terry Radford in the 60, he's just keeping a little bit of a cushion, just making it to where, you know what, if something happens in front of him, he doesn't destroy Tim Tripler's car.
Hey, I'll say that.
React.
Like you just said, that little bit of gap that Terry's, got between he and Andrew, that's helping Kyle catch him, right? I mean, he's given a little bit more of a draft than what he would if he was on the back end of Kevin Haas, who's actually on that low line. So this is really, in hindsight, this is helping out Kyle Knapp. Now, mind you, it looks like he's starting to lose that draft right now. So if I was him, if I can sniff that draft, I'd be hitting it right now. The gap right now between Terry Radford and Kyle Knapp is just over a second.
But he's about a half a second off that pack with Kevin Haas at the back. He is right in that sweet zone to where he's still getting enough of a draft to be able to keep up to him. But he's also dropping back just that little bit as there's a little bit of slicing and dicing going on up here. And that's going to give them the opportunity to just, again, as we're going 3 wide towards the back of that pack, it gives them that opportunity to react if there is some kind of an incident because, again, guys are kind of cutting in and out and trying to form out that outside line. All it takes is that one little bit of push like we saw with the first caution in the second duel. It just takes that one little bit to suddenly make it to where you guys are seeing a whole lot of chaos. And now that these guys are forming up a little bit better, that backpack led by Christopher McCullough, they're dropping. They're back to over a second and a half.
Yeah, I believe that's Kyle Knapp dropped their back to the back of that group, and that did not help their cause at all. Not really sure why he did, what happened to him, but definitely doesn't help your cause if the guy that's leading your pack just abruptly goes to the back of it. So I'm really intrigued what happened there. I will say, though, they are staying in single file, and as you see up here up front, you have guys, Brandon Minnick right now trying to lead that outside line, and he's trying to build something, and a couple guys going with him. I think if they start seeing a little success, you'll start seeing more guys go with them.
Well, in all honesty, if they're able to get themselves up and even with the leader, that's just a benefit for this entire lead pack because it's a bigger hole. We'll be able to get more pushing. They'll be able to take advantage of each other's side draft, get a little extra speed. That's going to make it to where that back pack, again, if I'm in this front pack, I'm wanting to do everything in my power to make sure those guys cannot rejoin us. Because if we go green the rest of this race and we don't have to have a pit stop, everybody in this front pack is getting to the big show tomorrow.
Yeah, if I were the guys there in that second pack, I would not want to be there. That's a lot of cars racing for 2 spots.
Well, as we'll go into the Kelly's Custom Engraving roll bar camera here with Christopher McCullough, who is leading that pack. He's closing in. It's under a second, which means he's got a sniff of that draft. So these guys are going to come, and they are going to come fast. I wouldn't be surprised to see him jump to that outside line and try to lead this entire group around and just kind of wave goodbye as they make their way past.
And the lead cars right now, they are starting to catch a lapper. I believe that group that you were just speaking of, they've caught them. They're there. So I would love to see them make that jump to the high line. Doesn't look like they're going to. They obviously had a good run, but I believe the 5 there, the 5 kind of checked up a little bit just enough so that way they didn't run over anybody. And I'd be really interested. I would have been really interested to see them, as you said, get a sniff of that draft, grab that draft, pull that draft, and then jump to that high side line. And they could have almost evened out on cars and really made a move.
And you know what? It's still early in the race where that's kind of a gutsy move in the last 10 laps kind of thing. But as we're going to go ahead and just watch this front pack as we're hitting the lappers, David Grantham is leading the pack, getting to the lapper who's staying up on that high line. And this is where it's going to get interesting. That high line is going to close quickly. And ultimately, it looks like they're dropping off as they had to worry about what was going to happen. But David Grantham leads another lap. We're on lap 22 of 50 in duel number 2 for the Alabama 500.
Yeah, I mean, when you catch up to a lapper like that, especially if they stay in that high line, you in the high line, that makes you a little nervous, You want to be able to get around them. You want to be able to get around them safely. You don't want to go into the corners going 3 wide. No need for it, especially, with somebody on the outside being a lap car. They're running at a slower pace. You don't want to have to check up. So it'll definitely make you drive a little bit more cautiously. Now, it did help our lapper there. He was able to get back into that draft, so he'll be able to run with the pack. He didn't do anything wrong. He did get out of the racing line. So, it's one of those nerve-wracking moments, I think, as a driver when you start seeing a car by himself in the draft.
Well, and specifically, we had the 24 of Travis Anderson ended up jumping out, making their way into the pits. I'm still not 100% certain. He's only a lap down. So if we do have another caution, he'll be able to get that lap back. But staying with the pack, making sure that you are still going to be that first car off the lead lap. And it's looking like he's doing everything he can to just kind of stay with him. And you know what? Him added to that outside line as we're starting to see a lot more as Brandon Minnick, who started in first, currently running in fourth and leading that outside pack. He's hanging on.
So we were told that he got black flag for passing before the start finished. So that is one of the that'll solve that mystery there. Right. As these guys, we're at 24 laps, we're almost halfway through right now. Again, this is still early. Even just halfway through, you don't want to make a crazy aggressive move. But I'm not mad at these guys on the outside. There's been a lot of clean racing, a lot of good racing. You're not seeing any crazy drafts and anybody pushing anybody, just over excessively in through corners. So right now, Brandon Minnick, who did not pit, out there running in second in that high line, he has got to be rooting for a caution right now.
Well, of course he is, because he ran the gamble to stay out on fuel, and it could hurt him, but I'm also a gambling man when it comes to those kind of strategy calls. That, you know what, you have to take the first duel as the best that we have right now for the information that you're going to use to make your strategy calls. We had that late caution, which would fall into the same fuel run as we're starting to see a few guys getting a little extra racy as Michael Everhart gets a little loose coming through the corners and now is going to be left alone 3 wide, and he's probably going to keep falling back, but that tosses that outside line into chaos.
Yeah, there we go. We got 3 wide going on. And no big deal, just, car shuffling out, shuffles back. We'll get back into that draft. I mean, they shouldn't lose too much on that note, but, the car is really starting to get single file. Me personally, as looking at it in the driver's eyes, I like this kind of racing. It definitely helps you relax, and in my opinion, it gets you settled into the race. So, when you get into these last few laps, you know it's about go time. You're not as, your nerves are already rattled from the entire race. To me, when I'm running too wide, even on a big track like this, it'll rattle your nerves.
Well, but I will also be the first to admit, and part of my problem on super speedways is I have a tendency to get bored. So I start making dumb moves to entertain myself.
Well, at least you admit it.
Oh yeah, no denies. But it looks like Shane Weldon Jr. had an incident, so let's go ahead and pop back, and that doesn't look like an incident. I just think it was him going off track and
slowing down, probably registered as one.
But nothing.
Hey, we got a lot of cars now starting to see some pit stops here up front. We got Brad Neer, Braxton DeWeese, Matthew Baker, guys slamming on the brakes, Terry Radford coming in, Christopher McCullough, Kenneth McCullough Jr. A lot of guys coming in right now. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cars on pit row. So I would say this right here, they can't make it on fuel. There's no way.
And
one of them missed a pit stop. We got one missing a pit stop.
And that is the 26 of Matthew Baker.
What is he doing? Is that the 03? I think the 03, I think Kenneth McCullough Jr. completely missed his pit stop and had to back up. Was I seeing that right? Let me look.
Well,
I'll let you know.
How about we do this?
Okay, nope. The 3's good.
Okay. So let's get ourselves back alive. And these guys are back out on track. They are going to be enough. There are enough cars right now, and we're starting to see David Grantham. We're seeing the next wave of cars making their way down pit road. So these guys are making sure that they can make it to the end of the race, pitting under green flag, which, okay. I'm one of those that's going to roll the dice and wait and make sure that we can do it.
So unfortunately, I'm looking at it right now. That was Terry Radford. Missed the pits, backed up, still wasn't in the pit box, had to readjust again, and then was able to get in. So unfortunately, that was Terry Radford that had missed the pit stall.
All right, so with all of the pit stops that we've had, Chris Akers takes over the lead of this race, followed by Mike Vano, TJ Rogers, and Ambrose Neville. So we are gonna go ahead, and this is gonna make this very interesting. So rather than seeing one large pack, we are gonna see a bunch of separate packs. And to the benefit of a lot of these guys, we are gonna see not everybody went a lap down at this point, as we see the 4 of Chris Akers go ahead and peel off. Not exactly sure why at this point, but he's going to move himself towards the back of this pack. And I would assume that for him, that's strategy. That's making sure I didn't pit. I'm not going to lead all the laps. Make sure I have enough in the tank to bring me home. So that is going to relinquish the lead of this race to Mike Vano, and we've got 20 laps to go. And
so we got comments coming in. First off, on YouTube, Baker's mom said, "Oh son." Obviously that's Baker's mom. So Mama Baker, I apologize for scaring you there. She did say, "Oh, thank goodness." But Tim Tripler said, "Shake my head at the fact that his guy missed the pit stop." But the 4 car is saving fuel and can make it, is what Sports Crazy Boy was saying. So
that's
some inside information there. So yes,
that's a smart move. You were at the front. You know that you're going to be pushing it. The first duel, we did have that caution that made it to where they could clutch it for a few laps. Maybe if you're braver than me, you turn off the engine. But
so I tell you what would be a smart move, and this is something we learned. We actually did in the Daytona race on Monday. Is by chance we had a guy that had to pit. There were guys that were 10 laps short on fuel. We were close, probably within about 5 laps. But one of the guys that we were talking to, he was 10 laps short. So he actually stopped, had to get fuel. We were going to try to make it, but when he had come out, he was managed to get in front of us. None of us had to lead because he led us to the green flag or the checkered flag. So for the 4 trying to save fuel right now, right behind him, he has the 60 of Terry Radford. It would behoove of him to get him to get behind the 60 of Terry Radford or one of these lap cars and have them pull him around.
Yes.
They have the fuel.
That is the absolute best case scenario. But right now, our leader pitted on lap 8. And actually, it's not until 10th of Christopher McCullough. That is the first person that pit on this strategy. And he is a solid. Let's look at this. He's 30 seconds back. As Kyle Knapp is on the outside there, dropping back. And he's going to join this pack. Honestly, these guys are all safe in this group. They are in. They all have their fuel. Kyle Knapp pitted on lap 9. He's at the back of this pack. Should be able to save enough to be able to make it because he has that extra lap in the bank and a group to run at the back of.
And here you go. Hey, check this out real quick. So if you go back up to the front, the 25 there of Mike Vanno, he dropped to the high side. He's coming down. He's trying to drop. But what we're seeing is some of these lap cars are starting to pass these lead cars that are trying to save fuel. So they're running a smart strategy here, letting some of these guys go. Right now, leading this pack, Randy Nichols in the 19th spot. So because he's leading, he's had to have pitted, right?
Yes,
you got the
on
pit.
lap 28. So
Yep.
He is going to go ahead and lead this. He's on the verge of being the first car a lap down. But yeah,
it conserves the rest of them fuel.
And you know what? He's in that perfect position. Let them push him. They're going to make it to where these guys can. He's not going to be able to be passed by anyone. Travis Anderson actually is part of this pack.
Yeah, he's 3 cars behind him. He's the 4th car behind him right now.
But he also he's not pit since lap 8.
Oh, we see Kevin Haas got a little squirrely there. He got tapped by the 60 Romeo of Terry Radford. Just got a little squirrely. Terry just backed off of him a little bit. Everything's all good, but we see Kevin Haas trying to drop to the back of this pack here.
And I've personally raced with Kevin Haas and know that he is crafty on these kinds of tracks where he knows exactly what he's doing. He's just doing what he can, get himself into the race tomorrow and fight for the win then. He's won races with me many times in these situations. But yeah, just run at the back of this pack. You're sitting in 7th. This entire pack following a lap car. They're the top 10. Why not? Just hang out, get it done.
Yeah, I think this right here, this is the greatest strategy that you can possibly do. I think this move right here heads up the front guys, TJ Rogers, Ambrose Neville, Craig Lautenschlager, Steve Loving, Chris Akers, Mike Vanno, Kevin Haas, these guys. This is the move, right? Like I said, you let the car, he's not a lap down, he's on the verge of going a lap down, but you let the one that just has all the fuel waste the fuel. He's going to make it. He's good. But you're letting him waste the fuel. You're conserving the fuel. And this is going to put you in contention for a win. But mark my words that once these guys know that they have enough fuel to go, somebody's going to go.
I think this is going to be the last 2 laps. Just make sure you have enough in the tank to make it. And then make it go time.
And correct me if I'm wrong. How many get into the transfer from this till tomorrow? 19. So you got 19th right there. So it's going to be really interesting to see that with Randy Nichols right there. But then you have Terry Radford in 21st. You have Travis Anderson in 20th. They are in this group. They're going to want to get them. But as you stated, Travis Anderson is last pit stop at 8 lap or the lap 8. Terry Radford has the fuel because his last pit stop was on lap 27. And then you got Kate Green there in 22nd, but he's a ways back. So they're going to start getting racy too because they have to make a move. 13 laps to go. If they want to get in the show tomorrow, if I'm them, I'm going now. I'm not waiting because there's once we get into the last 5 laps, these lead cars are going to start making moves, and it's going to bottle you up.
Well, and as those lead cars start making their moves, that's when we start seeing the same things that we were seeing in the first duel. As people are getting to go time, we've got another major chance for an incident.
I definitely don't disagree with that.
The biggest thing that this one has the advantage is we have distinct packs.
Less cars.
To where we are, if something happens with this league group, all those guys that took the pit stop, they are safe. Even though I'm looking right now and looking at the gap here from Christopher McCullough, I'm watching that drop. They are starting to catch this lead pack. Not quickly. They don't have enough laps to do it, but they are organized and they are faster.
Yeah, and obviously that's their best bet, right? So those guys are going to race for position, starting position, and it makes you wonder how important to them is their starting position. Is one really going to matter? Is 3 positions really going to matter? Are they really going to care that much to start getting racy? Probably not, because if they wreck, guess what happens? They're no longer in tomorrow, right? So they'll probably be like, okay, we're good. These guys are racing for what, $25? They may go for it. We may see them start jumping and going. What the guys back here for the win have for them is that you have 19th, 20th, and 21st all in that same pack. They want that position because they want into tomorrow. So I think that's where your game's going to be at. As we see now, the 27 is coming there on the high side, and he's pulling Mike Vano with him. So, and here comes Kevin Haas. So we're already starting to see him go 2 wide with 11 to go. And here, right here comes the 60. He's making a move. He's going to catch up. He's going to be side by side with the 24, Travis Anderson. So Terry Radford, he's trying to make a move. He's trying to get up there because he wants in tomorrow.
And that's what we need to be seeing is these guys starting to get a little bit racier. The 27, and yeah, that's one of those that the card number doesn't match. So
no, it does. It does.
Oh, does
27,
it?
Stephen Loving. Yep, Steve Loving.
Oh, well, yeah. He's taken over the lead of this race, which, again, he was one of those that pitted a lap later under the first caution. So he's got an extra lap to the good over these guys. So he got the spotter call. He knows he can make it. So it's go time, and that's going to make it to where we're starting to see Mike Vano is making the move. And right now the problem is those guys that were once in the mix looking for just hanging out at the front. The 51 of Randy Nichols, he's going to actually start fighting because Terry Radford's in that group. Travis Anderson. I think that's where we're going to see a little bit more chaos is these guys trying to get those last few spots. Not necessarily the guys going for a win, as we're seeing Steve Loving, Mike Vano, and now Kevin Haas are our top 3. And we're going to start seeing a lot more moves as it looks like Kevin Haas is putting a little bit of a gap in front of him to see if maybe he can get the run, make that jump to the outside, using that extra speed coming out of, I would assume, turn 2. And see if he can get himself to the front of this pack.
I'm looking at it right now, and we're showing that Terry Radford is up to 19. So he's into tomorrow's show. He still has to contend with Kay Green. That is 20th position right now. He's in this pack, and I believe the 24 Travis Anderson. Yep, yes. He's also in this pack. So, and Kay Green, he is making a move right now. Kay Green is sniffing the draft from the 60 of Terry Radford. So we're going to see him try to make a move. He's going to take it 3 wide.
Well, I don't think he's going to take it 3 wide, but if they can push the 2 together, get themselves up there, get around Randy Nichols, who's on that low line, see what they can do to push themselves, make it to where these are the two that are going to be on that chopping block. I'm going to find somebody in that group to try to make something happen, because in all honesty, that's what I'm wanting to do. As
Harry Radford has really been making this top line work by himself.
And that's the thing. The side draft is huge in these cars, to where if you're able to get a little close to that low line, you're still going to have speed even if you're solo, because you're getting some of the draft from the guys behind you and you're taking speed off of the person next to you. So it's very possible, and this, of course, as we were talking about it, he's dropping back a little bit, but still there.
So they're still in 19th position, so he still has the position. He's going to have to worry about the 24 and the 19. They are in that backpack there on that low line. As there you go, the 60 getting a nice run. They're on that high line, side by side with the 15, and heading into turn 1. Excuse me, that's the 51. As they are, he's keeping that line working. Now the 04 jumps out. Going to try to work with them a little bit, try to give him a push. Notices, hey, he's not dropping off too much. Now, can they push each other? This is going to help the 60 immensely.
And the big thing to remember, the 04 doesn't need to do that. The 04 running in 4th right now in the big show already, as we're seeing the 60 looking like he's going to drop down to that low line, leave the 04 there. The 60, that's the move.
That was the move, but the 51 now says, hey, I don't feel comfortable being on that bubble. Now, Randy Nichols, he went to the high side line. He's going to push the 04. This is going to get the 04 the run. The 04, Ambrose Neville to the outside, to the lead now as they come through turn 1, heading through turn 2. They're going to be clear with the 51. They will move down to that low line. That really helps out the 51.
We see the 60 end up down below the line. I'm not sure what happened there, but let's see if we can just take a quick look back there and see if we can see. Just got a little bit extra of a push from the 3 and just goes around, and that's unfortunate.
No, caution with 5 laps to go. That's going to end his chances. I mean, that's pretty much gone. 4 to go.
As we're going to keep up here at the front pack, because this is where I would assume the slicing and dicing is going to come. That second group is definitely going to do what they can, as we see the 12 of Kyle Knapp came into the pits. Looks like not necessarily going to be able to make it. Will he be able to stay in one of those positions to be able to make it to the race tomorrow? But this is where we're going to start seeing moves. Is 4 laps to go. We're seeing a few guys as the 25 is dropping off, cannot make it on fuel. That's
probably too early of a move, right? I mean, at that point, this may have been too early for a lot of these guys. I'm intrigued here. Are you going to have guys, Kevin Haas, Steve Loving, Craig Lautenschlager, did these guys conserve enough fuel
so the
to be able to get it?
Steve Loving was one of the ones that went that extra lap, topped off, so he's got a chance. But Ambrose Neville, that's... And
I'm liking Steve Loving's chances right here. He's sitting in second, so he's still conserving fuel, and he's got 1 lap extra of fuel over Ambrose Neville.
And also has a lap down car in front of him to be able to pull him through.
Yeah, I mean, I think that if Ambrose Neville can't make it and he comes down, if you're Steve Loving, just sit. At this point, just sit. There is no point in trying to make a move, because you've got that 1 lap extra of fuel that even if Kevin Haas decides to make a move earlier, the chances of him making on fuel is less than yours. So
as we see a car go off towards the back, is that going to bring out a caution?
No
Looks
caution.
like we're gonna stay. It stays below the line. So as we are coming with 2 laps to go, Ambrose Neville is leading this race. Hopefully has enough to make it. And at this point, your bet is made. You're going to that checkered flag, even if you're gonna sputter or have to clutch it. You're going. And going for that $25 as the white flag is out. These guys, I don't know if we're going to have the same kind of shaking that we did in that first duel. I have a feeling a lot of these guys are going to be questionable on fuel, so it's going to turn into survive, get a good starting position for tomorrow. But let's see, as we are seeing Chris Akers look on that outside line as we're coming into turn 3 and moving into 4. It's too
Kevin
little,
Haas
too
peaking.
late.
Kevin Haas is peaking, but I don't think you can get a run here. There goes the 27. He's looking for a run. Comes to the outside. He's going to try to side draft. It may have been a little too late as to the checkered flag. It's going to be Ambrose Neville taking our second duel.
As Steve Loving in second and Kevin Haas in third. These guys, it was 100% a fuel mileage race for these guys, and they did a fantastic job making sure they could get themselves across the line. And not quite the same excitement that we had, but these guys, it had to have been sweaty palms making sure that they could get to the end of this race.
You know, I will say one thing about it. It may not have had the wild finish like what we've seen in the last, race, but where the excitement really comes in on something like this is the fact that this was a fuel strategy race. And some of these guys played the fuel strategy perfect. I mean, we've seen guys that had pitted on lap 8 not able to make it, but guys that pitted on lap 8 able to make it. So in that retrospect, the fact that they played the fuel strategy that well, that was brilliant.
As we are seeing the 6 of Cody Nagel give a push to the 04 to get him to victory lane. And you know what? That's some good sportsmanship right there. So let's go ahead while we watch this happen. Run through our finishing order. Ambrose Neville takes the win and the $25. Steve Loving in second. Kevin Haas third. Chris Akers fourth. Craig Lautenslaughter in fifth. TJ Rogers sixth. Cody Nagels in seventh. Christopher McCullough eighth. Kenneth McCullough in ninth. Braxton DeWeese 10th. David Grantham in 11th. Andrew Sasno. Yeah, I'm going to have to ask. In 12th, Brad Neer in 13th, and Brandon Minnick in 14th.
And in 15th, we got Nash Brambilla, and 16th, Mike Vanna, who was low on fuel, was able to stop, and he's still good there in 16th. Kyle Knapp makes it in 17th. Randy Nichols in 18th. And 19th, Cade Green. 20th, Jarrell Duffin. And 21st, Matthew Baker. And 22nd, Travis Anderson. 23rd, Terry Radford. 24th, Michael Everett. 25th, Shane Weldon Sr. And 26th, Elliot Carlson. And 27th, John J. Mankowski. And in 28th, Anthony Ferrenti. Let's also remind everybody that the cutoff there was at Cade Green at 19.
And there may be a little bit that, because we did have uneven numbers between the two duels, there may be something else, so I'm not going to commit to that at this point.
I mean, you told me, so I just went.
I didn't realize that we were going to have anything kind of off there, but let's go ahead and see if we can find anybody to.
We got Kevin there, so I don't see Steve Loving anywhere.
He's in the green room directly below us.
Oh, well, just kidding. AMH just jumped down, so I'm sure that was probably him who just disappeared again. If he would have stayed there, I could have grabbed him.
Well, let's go ahead right now let's grab our second place finisher while we try to figure out where our winner is. But Steve, were you sweating it out with the fuel there?
Oh, it was amazing. Crossed the start finish and ran out.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. You and I'm looking right now. You finished, pitted at lap 9 and took fuel. Are you surprised that guys like Ambrose Nebel, Kevin Haas, Chris Akers, Chris Lautenslager, are you surprised that those guys were able to make it when they pitted on lap 8?
Yeah, I don't know. I wasn't too sure. I knew it was going to be really, really close. Coming out, I decided if I pit and then come back around and pit one more time to top off and keep shutting the car off and stay in the back and just be conservative and stay with the draft, I'd be fine. I used up quite a bit trying to get around the lap car, and unfortunately I just had to take it all the way up to the lead. I wasn't happy about that, so I kept coming off the gas trying to hope someone would be up high to pass me so I could tuck back in, because there's no way I could have finished in front with 10 laps to go. But yeah, I was destined. I made my bed, had to lay in it.
But you know what? If you go back and watch Larry and I's conversation, you did exactly what I would do, in that Talladega's not a position track. Stay out, go in, top off with that extra lap, and you know what? It worked out perfectly.
Yeah, the timing was perfect. If it was the caution was 2 laps later, it wouldn't have worked. If it was 2 laps earlier, it wouldn't have worked. I'll be honest, I had my doubts. I didn't even know if I was going to make a run for it coming out of turn 4 with the fuel, but came out of turn 4 with 0.2. I said, all right, I'm going to go for it. I know nobody's behind me. Let's see what happens. And yeah, I literally crossed the line and hadn't even made it turn 1. It sputtered out. And your race control is telling me, come back around to start finish for a photo. I was like, someone needs to push. I can't.
So, I mean, obviously, second place got to feel good. We didn't see near the raciness as we did in the first duel, but what can you take from this one for momentum heading into tomorrow?
Yeah, the first race was an amazing broadcast. They put on quite the show. Everyone was pretty aggressive. Yeah, I think this one was a little bit softer, only because everybody split the pack up in the basically thirds, and that kind of eased up the momentum a bit. Tomorrow it's going to be a toss-up. I would assume the first 100, 150 laps will probably be fairly conservative. May have a few people trying to make moves early and hopefully don't cause too much of a hang-up, but for the most part, I think we have a great group of drivers. I think everybody's going to do a fantastic job, and hopefully we can put on a outstanding show and have a clean 4-wide finish without piling it up.
Yeah, but I'll be honest, I kind of like the pile-ups from here. I don't like it when I'm in the car, but from here, that's awesome.
Yeah, if I'm going to be in a pile up, I'm hoping it's on lap 10, not lap 190. But,
Hey, I was just thinking that. I was like, you know what? If I'm going to get into a wreck, I'd much rather wreck early and be done early than race, 500 miles or 499 miles and then wreck and not even be able to finish the race. That'd be depressing.
Yeah. I mean, in real life, if you're going to wreck, wreck early, go to the hauler, get in a helicopter, go home. It's kind of same thing, except this one is, take the headset off, walk downstairs, get in the pool or something, but a little bit different.
Yeah, man. Hey, well, yeah, that was a great race. Obviously, you said it. I mean, you guys wasn't as racy as the last one, but as I stated earlier, it's a different form of racing, and both of them just beautiful to watch. And to see you guys stretch out the fuel, be able to play the fuel card and make it work was flat out amazing, and a testament to what you guys, doing in car as far as mathematics and just figuring out. I know when you go through, you're probably looking, where's the fuel at? What's my lap saying I have remaining? What's crew chief telling me? And you guys, you figured it out and you made it work for you. So kudos to you guys for being able to do that.
Yeah, appreciate it. Before I drop, I definitely want to throw some appreciation out. I want to thank Robbie for hosting and doing a great job administering the event. RC2 Productions, Race Promotions, for doing a fantastic job organizing the event. All the drivers, some of the folks I was able to bundle up with and form a quick team. My league, PRL, Verizon for actually holding a good connection, not making me go to the back. Bill Elliott, just because Bill Elliott, and Coke Zero for keeping fueled up.
All right, looking forward to seeing what you've got for us tomorrow. But go celebrate making it, getting a second place, and hopefully we'll get to chat with you come tomorrow.
All right, gents, we'll see you on the other side. Thank you.
Have a good one, man. All right, let's go ahead and pull in our third place finisher.
Because we just found out that our winner, his microphone died. So unfortunately, we don't get to chat with him tonight. But you know what? I won't lie. Getting to chat with Mr. Kevin Haas is always fun.
How's it going?
What's going on, man? Hey, great run from you. Great showing for you, representing the AOLO, man. How did you feel about that race? And, how do you feel going into tomorrow?
Hope to be talking to you guys tomorrow, but there's fuel strategy today. I made it. I'm sure the other guys said too. I had 0.1 when I crossed the line, and my goal was to make the race tomorrow. And actually, this race, it really wasn't that crazy.
No, it seemed like everybody had that mentality for this race, that it was, you know what? It doesn't matter where I finish tonight. It's where I finish tomorrow.
Exactly. And I watched the first race. I mean, they were a lot more racier than I think the second race was. But I don't know. The guys today, or in the second race here, didn't really seem to want to get racy, which that was good to me. I mean, my strategy was to stay, about 15th to 20th, somewhere in there, and then at the end go for it. But worked out with fuel.
Yeah, it seemed like that was going to be questionable, but you guys managed to get a car that was a lap down that was willing to pull you guys. And yeah, I've luckily never had a race where I've only finished with 0.1 gallons, but I even get scared when I finish with 1 gallon.
Yeah, I was surprised that those guys pitted about halfway or with about 20 to go. They had already pitted, like Braxton and some of those guys up in the front. I was surprised that they pitted that early.
Yeah, watching it, and especially thinking back to where you guys finished at, kind of what we were talking to Steve there. You guys pitted on lap 8, and that was general consensus on everybody besides Steve, who pitted on lap 9. And even he said he ran out coming across the flag. So I'm really shocked at some of the guys that decided to stop for fuel. But at the end of the day, I think that comes down to kind of like you were just saying, you wanted to make sure you made the show tomorrow. And I guess if you run out of fuel at the end, that's probably a worse look than stopping midway.
Yeah, that's true. It's going to be strange starting up here at the front. I mean, I don't know what the strategy will be for tomorrow. I don't know if I want to run up there or if I just want to get in mid pack, not lose the draft and stay out of trouble for a while. That's, that's probably what I'm going to try to do. But yeah, I thought about pitting. I know Steve pitted one lap before we went back to green. I thought about it, but my fuel said I was going to make it, and I stayed out. But yeah, could be interesting tomorrow.
So yeah, I guess that brings that. I do have a question based off of that, because you bring up a really valid point there. Starting up front, we've seen two different styles of racing, kind of like you were saying. The first duel was very racy. As we're the second one, you guys kind of went to one lane and just kind of hung out. So with that being said, what do you think going into tomorrow the strategy is going to be for you, not knowing and seeing two different styles of racing?
Take the first 5 to 10 laps, and see what's going on. I would say I'm probably about 75% certain that I am going to drop back to at least mid pack and go from there.
It's the safe call, and we've got 500 miles tomorrow, so you know what? I can't say that's the worst plan.
Yeah. Well, we'll just see. I mean, like I said, we'll see how racy it actually is. If I could lead a couple laps, that's fine. If not, I'm gonna, like I said, mid-pack to bat. See what happens. Thanks for calling the races tonight, guys. First race, like you said, was really racy. Ours was probably kind of boring, but at least made it through and representing the AOLL. So see you guys tomorrow.
All
Yeah,
right,
man. Have a
thanks.
good one.
Yep. See you guys.
All right, we are through the duels. We will be posting at some point tomorrow or this evening what the final lineups will be. But
I believe Robbie is working on those right now. He did say give him about 10 minutes, nobody to bother him. I was actually kind of hoping he would have it quickly and we'd be able to get him in here and let him announce it. Doesn't look to be the situation here. And just kind of go off what you said earlier. Ambrose did say that his mic's dead, so unfortunately we don't get to interview him. And he did say he finished with 0.0 fuel. So obviously fuel being a major factor in the second race.
yeah, and that's what happens when you don't have those late cautions. Again, we had almost exactly the same point of a caution in the first and second duel. The only difference is this second duel, it seemed like they may have learned some lessons from the first, getting to watch and see that, you know what, maybe it's not worth getting racy because, again, the end goal is tomorrow.
Yeah, and as I asked, Kevin there, I am intrigued. Josh, I don't know your perspective. What do you think your outlook for tomorrow is going to be? I mean, we've seen two different styles of racing here. How do you think tomorrow is going to go with 500 miles here at Talladega?
Honestly, I actually don't know because we did see two completely different styles. I think it's going to be which of the groups ends up dictating the race. If it tends to be that the group that we saw in the second duel are the ones that kind of shape the way we run tomorrow, we could see it turn into a strategy race. However, knowing how we saw the first group run, I have a feeling we're going to see a lot of two lines, and the second duel is going to adapt and run the same kind of race because we're going to have 40 cars come tomorrow. And you know what? It's going to be double the cars on track. So these guys are going to have to be able to work through and make sure that they can stay in contact with the front group. So if that means too wide the entire way, that's what we're going to see.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you there. I think that, tomorrow, big money on the line. The first group, they really showed that outside line could work. They know that outside line could work. I think you start seeing that first duel, you'll see more of those guys on that outside line. The second duel, we've seen a lot of guys there, and they kind of hung around that low line. Again, it was two different aspects of racing, but it's awesome to see two different aspects of racing because you've got to be good at both. Either, you can race in chaos like the first duel did, or you can understand fuel strategy. And there's some guys that are better at one than the other. So it'll be interesting to see what dictates tomorrow. A long race going on tomorrow, but a lot of money on the line.
And that's exactly it. That's what we're going to be seeing is just some fantastic racing. We saw interesting strategy tonight. We saw a lot of action. So I'm looking forward to tomorrow. For everyone out there watching, make sure come back. The race is going to be starting tomorrow at noon. We will be live 10 minutes before that point, giving a little bit of a recap of what we got to see tonight, getting through all of what you need to know. But make sure catch us on Ghostfire Media tomorrow for the full Alabama 500. And I can't sign off tonight without again giving thanks to 5-Star Realty Group for sponsoring this, as well as Kelly's Custom Engraving for what they're going to be providing to our winners and everything both of them do. RC2 race promotions for the fantastic event, and looking forward to a lot of high-speed action come tomorrow. So,
Yeah, I completely agree, man, and we look forward to tomorrow. So, like Josh said, join us tomorrow noon. Get ready for some racing, some long racing. If you guys watch it on your phone, I say don't. Get you the YouTube app on your TV. Put it on your TV. It's going to be a little bit better to watch on there.
So make sure to catch us tomorrow. Thank you once again. And that's going to do it for us here at Ghostfire Media for the evening. We will catch you at noon tomorrow.
Everybody have a good night. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you for watching iRacing on the Ghostfire Media Network.